Hey buddies, welcome to Video Games Awesome Live. This is The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth.
It's my favorite
Happy
game.
Halloween. It's Becky's favorite game of all time, ever, in life. Wow.
Aren't those cool?
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up right there.
It's my Binding
Jesus,
of Isaac
there's no way
playing.
you can play that with those. Those are pretty cool though. That's pretty cool. Where'd you get those?
Some Halloween store, man.
All right, so let's, I guess, just get Becky.
My favorite, like...
You've been playing this a lot.
Now, I'd say.
You've played this a lot since we last saw you, huh?
Yeah.
Like last year, how many hours have you logged?
No. I just started playing it again in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, but you played a lot of Binding of Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
On
my Vita. This isn't on the Vita.
Okay.
Afterbirth isn't on the Vita.
Right.
But it might be.
We'll jump on in. So today, if you're not familiar with our Halloween tradition of reading, we read our viewers horrible childhood stories. This year, I put an emphasis on making it Halloween based, especially if you have bad Halloween stories. That would be very good because I mean we've heard a lot, but I don't think we heard many Halloween ones.
No, I don't think so.
Halloween's a time of year where I feel like a lot of bad things happen to you.
Just for the record,
As a kid.
I was playing on normal a lot before because I was trying to unlock things, but I'm going to go back to hard now.
Oh, Becky's gonna play on a hard.
And I always go random. That's the way I do. I don't know who my favorite character is because I play on random.
So you're playing as now?
Isaac.
Oh,
It
that was your random?
chose
Oh, wow.
Isaac, yeah.
I love Isaac. He's the best one.
It's so weird going to... playing this in the studio, and also your controller feels different from mine.
We're going to... oh yeah, I have to log
Turbo
in here.
Forums. Also, I've been playing a lot of Overwatch, and it's really weird to me that you don't have to reload your tiers.
Yeah, that is weird. Actually, that's what happens when I play as Diva. I'm constantly reloading when I don't need to.
Oh yeah, me too. So I don't know what this item does, but I'm assuming since it says I can see my future, it'll show me my map.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Turbo Club Forum. Now we're gonna go into...
Ooh.
Is it sticky?
I don't believe it is, but it's right at the top of the Turbo Forum. I forgot what this does.
Oh, there it is.
I think it gives me shit, yeah. Noise.
All right. We start with a story from Random Gamer 666. When I lived in Spain, I used to go to the theme park called Tivoli World. Sounds Spanish. When I was 5 or 6, I went to Tivoli World, and there were people dressed as Pokemon characters, and you could get your picture taken with them. I didn't want my picture taken, but when me and my mom were waiting in the queue to go to the park, a giant Pikachu grabbed me by the arm, shouted something in Spanish, and tried to make me get my picture with him. It scared me so much. I hated Pokemon for a few years.
Aww.
That's horrible! Horrible! How could you do that to that child? Tried to make me. Wait a minute. It's funny that you're from Spain and yet you say the Pikachu said something in Spanish.
They were living in Spain. They might not speak Spanish.
When you're 5 or 6 and you live in Spain, you better learn Spanish. You lazy little shit. All right. I was bullied the entire time I was in school.
Oh yeah, some of them are really just sad.
Oh.
I think this one might be sad. I didn't read many.
Did we not emphasize that it should be like kind of funny?
Oh, we said horrible.
It's gotta be horrible, but in a way that I can laugh at you and you can laugh with us. If it's just...
I think this is one of the few
Okay, I'm
that
gonna
I
skip
read,
this
and I
one
was
then.
just like, oh, buddy.
I'm gonna skip it. I wanna, maybe you guys can like read ahead, and I really feel bad for your sad story. But maybe some of you can read ahead for me, or maybe somebody has read ahead. Warn me about the ones that are just straight up sad. If it wasn't clear to people, this is supposed to be like I pooped my pants. This isn't a group therapy thing. But I feel bad for you if you had a bad time. Sorry if you got bullied. A lot of people did. Viva Laconi says, one Halloween when I was around 13. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit.
Quite loud, huh?
All right. Good luck, Becky.
Oh, they have new ones of these. Some of those ones are new and I've been skipping.
Did you already beat a boss?
No, I have to take these things off. They were cool for 5 seconds.
One Halloween when I was 13 years old, I was sitting in the living room reading a book. Without warning, a lamp in the corner lit up by itself. There was no one else in the room and it couldn't be turned on remotely. It being Halloween, the first thought that came to mind was ghosts.
Obviously.
As I was considering the alternatives, I noticed that it had gotten cold in the room and there was goosebumps up and down my arm. I also started to hear muted screaming-like sounds in the distance. I tried to convince myself that it was the wind and stuff, but I still got a little freaked out, so I moved to a different, better lit, less haunted room and continued reading. I later found out that my mother had started using a timed plug so that the lamp would turn on at a certain time and turn back off when everyone went to bed. Though why she started using it on Halloween, I'll never know. The goosebumps and cold was because the evening time in Ireland at the end of October. The sounds really were just the wind. I have felt like an idiot ever since. So his whole life ever since, he's felt like an idiot.
I would have been satisfied just thinking it was ghosts.
You know what? That gave me an idea. Since we only have 2 pages, Turbos, maybe go in and if you have a scary, an eerie, weird story that's ever happened to you that like, despite even being a type of, if you're a person who believes in ghosts like 100%, so much that you go looking for them, like you're like, oh man, I'm going to this haunted place because I'm totally going to see a ghost. Well, you're disqualified. I want to hear creepy moments from people who actually don't believe in ghosts. Who are like,
what if you believe in ghosts but don't go searching for them?
I want to hear spooky tales from people who like were like, despite not believing in ghosts, are like, that was a fucking weird moment. Because I like, even though I absolutely 100% believe ghosts do not exist in any form. There is no ethereal plane that we know of. I've had spooky moments. I can't think of them off the bat, but even I have had moments where I'm like, oh, that was weird or chilling, like, you know, especially when you're a kid. All right, and that was a pretty good one as an example. K16 says, back in the 8th grade, I was in class where we had a large essay due in a few days. Unfortunately, I was mysteriously hit with a fever at 108 degrees Fahrenheit, 42 degrees Celsius. Parents freaked out at my brain-damaging temperature and took me to the hospital for antibiotics, ibuprofen, and rubbing alcohol treatment. The bad part of this is that I recovered the night before the assignment was due, went to class and signed the doctor's note explaining the whole thing, and the teacher found out it to be so ridiculous that he shared it with the rest of the class. I remember this is what he said to this day, quote, "All right, here is what not to do when you don't do your assignment. You don't make a doctor's note and pretend that you were sick. Like this, for instance, bacterial infected illness causing high fever, hallucinations, inability to walk straight, extreme exhaustion. Okay, I'll see you after class." The entire class erupted in laughter when they heard about the walking and extreme exhaustion bit. I don't know why the doctor wrote it that way, but admittedly speaking, it was pretty funny if true, even if it was true. Of course, little me didn't find it that funny, as I dealt with anxiety for the rest of the class after being humiliated in front of damn well everyone. After class, the teacher lectured me about lying and skipping assignments, followed by giving me a 0 on the assignment. I should add that this was my first offense, but there better be retribution for this.
Yeah, man.
I guess I should have asked my parents to explain it, but I was too stupid to realize that.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, and the hallucinations were my being tiny and everything being massive in scale. It was trippy and intimidating experience.
Whoa.
I could even see it with my eyes closed.
That is fucked up.
That is creepy. Hey guys, do you know how to invert? It's a little bit difficult to read white on black in tiny text on an iPad. Do you guys know how to invert the colors on the iPad? I think it's in accessibility, isn't it?
I guess I could grab the big battery upgrade. Or why not?
It says invert colors. There we go. That'll make it easier.
Did they help you with that, or did you figure it out on your own?
I did it on my own. It's mainly that the
I was gonna thank them.
It's mainly because the studio is so bright, so reading off a screen that's dark, it makes it really hard on the eyes. So, this is from Neonte. So apparently when I was around 12 or 13, my dad locked me in the closet with him to perform an exorcism on me. You know, because kids don't just start behaving more during puberty, gotta be demons,
Jesus,
obviously.
Dad.
I don't remember that incident, but I do remember a few times later when he made me get in his car so he could drive me around and yell at me for acting up.
Oh,
So
God.
it fits his clueless, lazy, shitty parenting.
Aw. An exorcism.
An exorcism performed on you by your shitty father is a shitty tale.
Yikes.
So in my home in Ladner, there was this is from Groovy. There's an infamous hidden tree house in the woods where kids basically go to get high and drunk. This tree house.
Did the exorcism work?
Yeah, Blunder wants to know, did it work? Treehouse is known by a lot of names, but is most often called the Tower. It was October, and I was 13 or 12. My friends and I were talking on Skype, wondering what to do that night. After we argued for a good 10 minutes, we came to the conclusion that we should go hang out at the tower. After meeting up at the local elementary school, we made our way to the forest. When we got there, there was a fence that said, "Beware of coyotes," or something like that. We could only get ourselves through the hole in the fence, so we had to lock up and leave our bikes behind.
Uh-oh.
We started walking, looking for the hidden trail going to the tower. It eventually got dark and we were pretty much lost. So we didn't go back to our bikes. Then we heard the coyotes howl. Oh my God. So we started sprinting. We came to a split in the path, disagreeing with my friends. I went off by myself down one path I thought was right because I didn't want to die alone in the woods.
Oh my God.
After realizing this path was wrong, I started calling for my friends. No answer. I started to come to the conclusion that they'd left me for dead, so I started to backtrack. I finally went down the right path, running as fast as I could, tripping over countless branches since I had no light. When I made it to the fence, I realized my friends left me, so I made my way to our rendezvous point, the ice cream shop. But 10 minutes later, I met up with my friends and gave them hell. The scary part was we weren't wearing our helmets. Spooky. Well, that is one of those stories where you realize that you're in fucking trouble.
That's freaky. Oh, motherfucker. Oh.
Did I tell the story? I've probably done this before on the show. Told the story where I went out in the snow with my bare feet.
I don't remember.
My mom wanted me to go shut the door on the old shed about like 200 feet from the house,
like at
way
the
back
barn?
back near the barn, by the garden.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, it was open and blown open, the door, and snow was drifting inside. She's like, shut the door, but I was like playing Nintendo. I really didn't want to go do it, and I was in a bad mood that day. Probably about, 13, 14.
They're always in bad moods.
I didn't want to get out of my pajamas, and I was like, you know what? I don't even want to put on socks. You know what? I don't even want to put on my boots. So I decided to be a big shot and like go out and walk out. I'd be like, I'm tough. I'll walk through the snow, walk back. But the snow was, have you ever, that snow that has like a crusty, icy, snowy type stuff on top?
Yeah.
And then the quality of the snow itself is less like soft snow and more like large ice crystals.
Yep.
It was that kind of snow.
You
and
idiot.
so it felt like every step I was cutting my feet on like glass. And so I made it out there by basically crawling.
Kids are stupid.
Like I got halfway before it started to hurt, and then I had to like kind of crawl to get to the shed. Then there was like an old bike in the shed, and I tried to ride it back through the snow so that it wouldn't hurt my feet on the way back. Eventually, my mom, wondering where I am, sees the struggles from the kitchen,
And stands there and laughs at you?
comes out, Well, we had already been kind of butting heads that day, so she comes out, doesn't say a word, she just like grabs me, picks me up, and I'm like a 13 or 14-year-old kid
And his
being
mom's,
carried
like,
by his mom
smaller
barefoot
than
back into the
us.
house, takes me to the fucking bathtub, puts me in the bathtub, and starts running warm water over my feet, not saying anything. Meanwhile, my grandma from Sault Ste. Marie is there for Christmas and is like the whole time just following us behind, like just giving her 2 cents on the whole situation, like about, you know, how that wasn't smart and all
my
these
God.
different things, while my mom
is
says
so
nothing.
good.
And Dustin was there too, and he's just like, what? Like, dude, what the fuck? And I'm like, fuck
Wow.
off. Damn.
Holy shit, that's good.
It was just one of those moments, you know, when you do something stupid, you know you did something stupid just because you were being stubborn that day. I
Yeah.
don't know. That was like probably one of the dumber things I ever did. I wonder if mom remembers it.
Blow this shit up, you. Yeah.
It's nowhere
there
near
you
the
go.
puke slipping, but that was my little brother. That wasn't me. All right. What are we doing here? Okay. Is this okay? From Darker Zap. I'm pretty sure I was in middle school, maybe 6th grade. My mom, my brother, and I decided to drive down to a friend's house to hang out. We pulled up at the house on the opposite side of the street. I realized not only was I excited to see my friend, but I noticed that my bladder was full. So without thinking, I ran around the front of our van and into the street. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground. I don't remember seeing anything, but I heard a lot of people around me. The only thing I remember until I got to the hospital was a little bit of the ambulance ride where they cut my favorite shirt. I still have the clothes wrapped in the garbage bag. It was a tan Pokemon shirt. I woke up at the hospital with an IV on my arm and the family around me. The doctor came in and told my parents I only fractured my right hip. I wasn't able to walk for a couple weeks, and I got a few scrapes and bruises. So he doesn't say it here, but I'm assuming he got hit by a car.
Yeah.
When the doctor, I didn't see it. Oh no, it doesn't say here at any point. It just says next thing I remember, hit by a car. Forgot that part. Jesus Christ. The doctor okay.
That's fucking crazy. Oh.
When the doctor was finished, the first words out of my mouth were, "Can I go pee?"
Aw, you didn't pee your pants? How did you not pee your pants?
Oh, and here's a little Shyamalan twist. The person that hit me was taking his wife to work. She was the nurse at the hospital I was taken to. She wasn't my nurse though.
Oh, weird.
And she was a ghost, so. This one time, this is from Epileptic. This one time in T1, that's transitional 1, in between kindergarten and 1st grade, I failed kindergarten, in brackets.
Oh, is it because you couldn't jump?
That's hilarious.
My sister failed jumping in kindergarten.
I was coloring at my desk. Teacher found out and got mad at me, taking the desk away entirely. After that, I had to sit on the floor. Don't remember how long that lasted. Just took the whole fucking desk. This isn't as traumatizing for me. However, to this day, I feel like I was 100% guilty for the events that unfolded. I was in middle school, 8th grade, and we had a substitute teacher for my math class. Naturally, no one got anything done, and we basically spent the period shooting the shit. I don't remember how we got to this point, but somehow I got my substitute to start telling us funny jokes to pass the time. After telling us a few, she then said that she ran out of funny ones and had nothing left. However, I keep begging her on to tell us a few more. She then told me she has one, however, it's incredibly inappropriate, not for school. I continued to egg her on until she said it was a joke about the Holocaust. Naturally, other kid in class went home and told his mom that the substitute got fired over it. I still believe that it was part my fault that she got fired.
That sucks. She also told a Holocaust joke.
There's one thing that you can learn as a teacher going into being a teacher. Don't trust your kids ever. Kids are shit. Kids have no...
Even if they have good intentions. He probably just thought it was a really funny joke and told his parents.
Kids are not your friends. I remember any time a teacher would be cool in any way, later on, the same kids that they was being cool with would use it against them. You know, use it to try to... Kids, that's how militant kids are, though. It's survival of the
Kids
fittest.
are the devil.
Kids are the base form of our primitive instincts. It's
Well, they
pure
haven't
eat or be eaten, and they haven't like
yet.
learned to be like to make alliances with people that last besides like two-faced alliances. Kids are shitty because humans are shitty, and kids haven't learned to be decent yet. Being decent is like
Kids
a thing
aren't
that you
people,
force
got it.
yourself to do. It's not human nature to be decent. We like civilization has enforced that on us.
I'm decent by nature.
All right. Mr. B says, back when I was in 11 or 12, we had English class, and as English is our second language when we were practicing pronunciation, we were going to practice pronunciation. The only problem was that I was having some sort of plastic braces at the roof of my mouth and had trouble talking. As the teacher asked about a certain word, I tried my best but spitted out gibberish, and the teacher had me repeat it 2 times that she couldn't hear it and kind of scolded me for not getting it right.
Aw. Everybody knows it's hard to talk with braces.
One other time when I was younger,
Sure.
I was out with my grandparents at a farm market outside the sheep in a small pasture, and when we were done, we went to look at the sheep. Right as I said something like, nice sheep, they started fucking right in front of us. Maybe my grandparents didn't care, but I felt really awkward and went straight to the car.
Yeah.
So he said nice sheep just as they started fucking, and so the grandparents looked at him and like, why would you say that right now?
Yeah. It's not
My
appropriate.
grandpa thought I was a sheep fucker from that day forward. Edgehead910 says, when I was 6 years old, we were on vacation in the Netherlands, and I was allowed to play on the restaurant's playground while my family ate. I had a few minutes of fun before I jumped down on the swing set mats, and then, which should prevent you from falling to the dirt, moved it and sprayed mud all over my face. I guess jumping on it moved it. Anyways, the other children started making fun of me even though I didn't understand one word of Dutch. I didn't know where my family was sitting in the restaurant, and so the only logical option was for me to wait in the corner of the playground, turned away from all the children. I waited somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes until my parents picked me up. When they saw me in the corner of the playground, they knew something was up and saw my face full of mud and started laughing. Oh my God! And they were all speaking Dutch, and I couldn't understand a word either from my family.
Oh, God.
I just made up that part.
Okay.
I was cleaned up. It was vacation in the Netherlands. I was cleaned up shortly after that. When we went to the same place the following year, I refused to get out of the car. My family tells the story a lot and wishes they would have taken a picture of the dirt on my face. Holy fuck!
That kind of sounds like my family.
I was at 6.
It's especially the traumatizing ones that they like to retell.
He also says, this is Edgehead still, at 14 or 15 I was sitting in school during math class. I couldn't see the numbers I was writing on my piece of paper.
Oh, I did.
My teacher asked me to read the assignment, which I couldn't at this point. I told her that I couldn't read numbers anymore and something. I was in luck that I was a good student in math, and she gave me a slip of paper to read the rest of the class that it should go work on her own. I couldn't read it. She then had another student take me to the nurse's office. I had to wait in the nurse's office. I had to wait a couple minutes. When she entered the room, I was startled because when I saw her, she was instantly up in my face. During a short examination, I only came to realize that within 10 months, my loss of vision extended from my eyes focus to pretty much everything left of my nose. At this point, I was starting to become really scared of what was going on.
Aww.
I was rushed to hospital, neurological examination, and MRI. In the end, I'm so lucky I don't have a serious condition. Oh, I thought this was going to go somewhere funny.
That's crazy.
In the form of migraines, I can lose half my vision for some time.
Oh,
Sorry to hear you have
that's
that.
fucking rough.
But Jesus, I don't want to be depressed after today. Guys, can you warn me about these coming?
How are they supposed to?
I don't want to just be depressed thinking everybody just has a shitty life. Alright, Quasi says, as a kid, the first one was good though. Quasi says, as a kid, I used to be fascinated with insects, specifically ants. When I went out to play, I would find an ant and let it crawl all over my hand. One day, an ant bit me and it hurt, so I decided to distance myself from bugs for a while. I'm picturing little Quasi.
Me too.
He's basically the kid from American Family.
I'm just picturing Quasi now, but with a bigger head. That's right, not smaller body. Just a bigger head.
Modern Family, not American Family. Yeah. That's basically Quasi. Like, as a kid, I think. The next night, ants started crawling in from my window into my bedroom. They crawled all along the wall in a procession to seek vengeance at me for playing with them. I was not someone who squished bugs and was very gentle, so I assumed they liked just like the way I tasted. Needless to say, I'm now phobic of all creatures under the size of 5 millimeters with an exoskeleton. Montreal was filled with trauma. Yeah.
That's good.
Bone Daddy 101 says, high school? In high school, a lot of people thought I was creepy because I didn't talk much. A friend of mine made my reputation worse when he wrote 15 love letters, signed my name on all of them, stuffed them into my crush's lockers. I was known as, wow, you had 15 crushes? Jesus. And how did this kid know? Oh, he was a friend.
Yeah.
So he was such a good friend that he memorized all 10 of your 15 crushes. But then such a bad friend that he then ruined your relationship, or maybe helped your relationship with all of them?
I think it was 15 letters to one crush.
No. Oh, into my crushes. He forgot the apostrophe then. I see. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. I like the idea that he had 15 crushes. And to this day, he still remembers the exact number of crushes he had. I was known as the creepy stalker kid for the rest of my high school years.
That's bullshit.
Oh, well. Miss Fable says, kind of freaky, but when I was 5, I had high fever and went to the hospital for treatment. I was having some bizarre hallucinations. I thought the whole time that I was in the hospital and even back home resting, there was someone in the left-hand corner of the room. I remember seeing the person back towards me, and they're facing the corner, but at all times they grow really tall.
Whoa.
Almost like they're reaching the ceiling. It freaked me out a lot, and I remember asking my mom to stay with me so I wouldn't be alone. The freakiest part, well, you're not alone. You have that backwards standing guy. The freakiest part was when my fever was at its worst at the hospital. The person in the corner switched their whole body around, but their head was still facing the corner, like Regan from The Exorcist. But the head didn't turn, the body did. I haven't had a fever like that since, and I'm kind of freaked out by those hallucinations because of how bizarre they were.
Yeah.
So when I was 6, my family and I were invited for Thanksgiving dinner at a fancy restaurant, and our family friends. The place was, I think this is a separate story. The place we went was a big open space dining hall that looked fancy, and my brother was bored because the dinner hadn't started yet. He told me we should play in the hallway till my mom calls us. So we did. My brother was 3 years older than me, and he's about 9 here. He wanted to play Power Rangers because I think we watched...
It's a new one.
He has a dress, and he was happy.
Yeah. It's okay. My nephew likes to play as Guppy Girl, and that's okay. Anyways, whoa, where was I? Sorry.
Okay, he wanted to play Power Rangers because I think we watched an episode earlier that day, so he wanted to reenact one of the fight scenes, and I had to be the bad guy, of course. At some point, I told him I wanted to play something else, but I didn't realize he was still throwing fake punches at me. One of them hit me on the nose. His face said it all, that he was in big trouble, and he booked it and ran while my nose was bleeding. Of course, I was bawling, and soon my mom came and said what happened. One of the servers came, who I think must have been a teenager, early 20s, to help stop the bleeding in my nose. My brother, of course, was hiding, and my mom finally found him, and he got in trouble. In the end, I never wanted to do any pretend fighting with him. Of course, later on he forced me, and I still got to enjoy a big slice of pie while he didn't that day.
Sucker. Guys, I hate charge shot.
Any charge shot? Yeah. Jesselby429 says, when I was 13 or 14, I got a power drill through my lip.
Jesus Christ!
Granted, it was my dumb fault. How does that even happen? While I was lucky to have not been seriously injured, and there is no visible scar after a decade, after a week or two went by, it became the funniest thing to my parents. Then at Christmas, my parents bought me a toy drill. Again, I was 13 or 14 years old. A 13-year-old girl who still had the red mark from the injury.
That sounds like my...
How does a fucking power drill end up through your lip?
Yeah.
Is what I want to know.
And how is it your fault?
I'm just gonna make the...
Oh, I hate charge shot. They feel useless.
Is there a way to make text bigger on the iPad?
Fuck damn it.
Like besides, well, yeah, you can zoom in, but then I'll have to go like this as I like go back and forth because the paragraphs are so wide. I mean, increase the font size. If you increase font size in the accessibility settings, it just increases the text size on some apps that support it. It doesn't do it across the board. Resolution. This is an iPad. I'm looking for iPad owners here. Alright, I guess I'll just keep going, suffer it through. It's just that it's small. We don't really have a very mobile device friendly website.
Oh, god damn it.
Display text size? Well, I went in.
There it is. Oh, that one. I'm just playing kind of dumb now because I don't like charge shot.
It just no, it's still only for certain apps that support it. It has nothing to do with like Chrome doesn't support it apparently. Anyways, okay, Edgehead Quasi. Who's next? Death by Blunderbuss.
Uh-oh. There we go. Sure.
When I was in middle school, my friend set me up on a double date with him and a girlfriend at the same time, and the other girl, who I thought was a girl I had a crush on at the time. I remember being so excited, thinking... Here, I'm making it a bit bigger.
I'm already sad.
I remember being so excited, thinking this was going to be amazing, and that she was going to be the girl I married. Well, we show up for the date and the arcade pizza joint in our town, and I come to find that the girl was another girl who happened to have the same name of the girl I had a crush on. Being young and stupid at the time, I proceeded to be a total dick to the girl because I was so angry at the situation. I'm pretty certain it ended with me telling her, I don't like you at all, and I don't want to go out with you, and she apparently had a crush on me.
Oh.
I'm also certain she ended up leaving in tears, and I didn't care at all because once again I was young and stupid. I never saw this girl again, which is strange because if I remember correctly, it was the fall at the beginning of this new school year. Also, the girl that I did have a crush on became pretty good friends with her throughout middle school and high school, even though she never ended up dating, and she married someone else and now has 2 kids, and we've kept in touch through Facebook. I never let my best friend set me up on that date after that date. Well, that sounds like more like her story. Blue Deadpool says, an old friend, especially that it ends with a good part. And then I became great friends with the girl that I really liked, and we're still friends to this day. I don't want to know that.
That's a
I don't
good
give a
story.
fuck about that. All right, Blue Deadpool says, an old friend years and years ago was once at my house, and we were both playing Mario Party in my room. I had an idea about this, but apparently he suddenly faints sometimes for no reason. I still don't know much to this day. You can tell where this is going. No, I can't. So, my bed is really tall, like the one... Okay, now I can tell. Like the one of those single beds with the ladder and the big space under the bed. Well, we were sitting on the bed playing Mario Party. My friend reaches over to get a drink. Has a drink, and as he's putting it back, suddenly collapses and falls headfirst off of my bed, hits the ladder on the way down, and lands with a big thump. I freaked the fuck out as my friend sat, maybe dead, on the floor of my living room.
Maybe dead.
The sound of whoopee, Mario Gold coin in the fucking background. I had no idea why he collapsed, and my mom runs upstairs and screams, and I'm fucking shitting myself, right? You would too. She probably thought I murdered the poor bastard. She called the kid's parents, and they ran over and took him to the hospital. Now the creepy part is I hadn't heard from him in like a month now. I had no clue he was fucking dead, if he was dead or anything, and I was thinking about it and dreamed that he'd come back from the dead to get me. I screamed and sleepwalked. Well, sleep ran downstairs at 4 a.m. in the morning and literally unlocked the door and ran out of the house. I woke up in my garden a few seconds after my pajamas with my mom and dad staring at me from their bedroom window. By the way, I still haven't heard from that kid. He's not dead, but what the fuck? Bulldog Archer says, this was the experience that gave me a fear of school buses. When I was in the first grade or second grade, I was riding the school bus home. One day we had, here a second, I'm going to turn up my brightness a bit. There. One day we had a fill-in driver. As we got close to the house, I got up and started to the front of the bus like I always did, and the bus just sped by my house. The fill-in driver yelled at me to get back in my seat. When I tried explaining why I was up and that he had passed my house, he yelled, "Don't talk back to me." I sat back down and started crying. I was terrified. One of the older kids tried explaining to the doctor what my problem was and got told it's not my problem, he should know where he lives. While listening to this, I was told by the fill-in driver's grandson that I would be stuck on the bus because his grandpop would not be taking me home. Fuck that kid.
Yeah.
I can picture that little shit. My grandpop's not gonna be taking you home. You're gonna be stuck on this bus. My grandpop's the best. He would just leave me at school. My parents were scared to death because my mom stood there as the bus went by.
Aww.
And Dad went to school to try to find me, and they had already locked up the buildings. Needless to say, not a great start to seeing off the weekend. And because of the connections in our small town, nothing was done about the way he treated me or the other kid or how the grandson treated me.
Yep.
And later he got a full-time bus driving position. I never have been able to ride the bus since without constant anxiety. Wow, these days, bus driver getting a shit ton of trouble. You get a lot. It's funny how much more you could get away with just, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago. Times changed a lot.
Ooh, this one's new. Up from above, sure. This can't
Although,
bite me in the ass.
times sometimes change for the worse as well. Nowadays they send into a fucking SWAT team to the school if somebody comes with peanut butter.
Yeah. Oh, I see what's happening. Thanks, Mom. I kind of shot the bed on that one, though.
LOD83 says, this story happened 20 years ago. I think I was 10 at the time. One Halloween night, a whole group of us were trick-or-treating in the neighborhood. I was the oldest kid in the bunch, walking towards the back of our group at the time. We had plenty of adults with us too, though. Anyways, out of nowhere, a stupid bully-type kid around my age comes out of the darkness, riding his bike as fast as he can, and tries to scare us, plowing through the middle of our group. He ends up hitting me on the head, breaking open stitches I had in the side of my head from recent surgery. I was rushed to the hospital, didn't get to finish trick-or-treating. Was told that I was lucky no internal organs were damaged. What the fuck?
Holy shit.
Later, his cousins tried to attack me because he broke his collarbone falling from his bike when he hit me. Jesus Christ.
fog.
Well, that's just sad. Death by Blunderbuss says, this one time during summer, I unknowingly went to a place where I'd gone to as a kid at elementary school. When I was in elementary school, we'd always go to 1 or 2 class trips during the year. On this particular class trip, I ended up making friends with a boy who all the kids would pick on, and no one would seem to want to be friends. To make things worse, his last name was Queer. Not really sure if kids knew the context of that word in the early 90s like they do now.
Somebody's last name?
Well, on the class trip, I ended up sitting with him after, and the kids were so mean that he ended up crying.
Aww.
Well, we became friends. Are you serious? This is Death by Blunderbuss again. We became friends and we're friends to this day, and he's a really cool guy now. No, but this better be going somewhere, I'll tell you that fucking much. Anyways, where is it? Okay. On that weekend, he ended up getting burned very badly. I don't really recall if he was... We're gonna find out that all these people who are his friends that bad things happen to are actually him, and he's just like projecting it onto other people.
Oh god.
Then the kid pooped his pants, and then...
These guys are the easiest. Why am I having trouble?
I don't really recall if he was playing with the gas and matches or if his dad was doing yard work. He ended up throwing gas on a fire, had gone out. He was out of school for a few months, and when he came back after the initial pouring of kindness from everyone and some kids who picked on him started up again, I tried again to help him and his friend. He was never really friendly with me again. I can't help but wonder now as an adult if he was angry with me for not being there in some way. Okay.
So they aren't friends
Yeah,
now?
this goes nowhere. He says I tried to look him up on Facebook, had no luck. Okay. All
They
right.
aren't friends now.
Once again, if you guys can read ahead.
Yeah, but how are they supposed to tell you?
I don't know. Because I'm not looking down there either. All right. Fighter Kess. Is this one good, guys? By Fighter Kess. Please tell me this is good. Can't remember how old I was, but probably around 7 or 8. You said terrible childhood stories. I'm sorry. You've been here before, Death by Blunderbuss. I want stuff that's funny, like poop my pants, not this kid was horribly burned and maimed and never saw him again.
I could have been more specific.
All right. I just thought everybody knew the drill by now. We've done this like 5 times.
Yeah.
Basically, I only want stories from now on unless if you pooped your pants. If it doesn't involve pooping your pants, I don't want it.
Oh god.
Can't exactly how old I was. This is from Fighter Kess, but I was around 7 or 8. Too old to fit in one of those baby swings with the baby legs. Fine, I pooped my pants in 2nd grade. There you go. Death by Blunder's made up for it. Too old to fit in one of those baby swings with the 2 leg holes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 or 8, I would say. I can't remember. I like how you asked that, right? Like you're still not sure to this day.
I don't remember what the buttons are.
I can't remember the stipulation behind why I decided to sit in one of those baby swings at the park down the street. Oh, I think a lot of people have a story like this.
Yeah.
Where you try to get in one of those things.
Yep.
I think I have one. I remember trying to do it when I was in high school for fun, like sitting around at the park being an idiot with other friends and trying to get in it.
Yep. I can see myself doing that now.
Maybe I was a dumb kid, or maybe I just wanted to see if I could fit in. Regardless, I did, but couldn't get out. I was stuck. I guess my legs at that age were just able to fit inside the holes, but had no way of squeezing myself out once I was in. I needed help. My friends and my brother ran to get my mom, and she couldn't get me out. My dad was out of town at the time, so embarrassingly, she called my best friend's dad. He couldn't get me out. I don't know how long I was stuck in the swing before they decided to call the fire department, but once they showed up, I can remember my legs looking reddish, and I was starting to lose circulation in them.
Oh my god.
Anyway, long story short, they had to use the jaws of life to cut the swing to free me. I don't know if we ever had to pay to replace the public swing.
I like that one.
That's pretty fucking perfect. That's straight up classic. Beaver in the soup cup billboard classic. What do you think's in there, Beav? There's no way it's real soup.
I've done that so many times with shirts, like trying on teeny tiny shirts and then you can't get them over your head. Not so much now, but like when I was in high school and it was like cool to wear really.
Where the fuck was I?
I remember Melanie having to get me out of, and my cousin, of course.
This is like a high school boy's fucking fantasy. So we were hanging out on this weekend. We tried on these teeny tiny shirts and we couldn't really fit in them very well. We were just bursting out of them, and then we had to undress each other. Ha 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 ha. I'll take your shirt off now.
That's how it went.
I think this is what the boys call neathage.
Oh, son of a...
All right.
Do you hear the scary noises in the background?
What's that?
Spooky, scary noises in the background.
Super Neon Man says, I was staying at my grandmother's house. It had been a few years since I'd seen her, so she didn't really know me too well. She collected a ton of trinkets, and one particular mask that she had hanging on the wall terrified me. She had fancy sofas that were like 30 centimeters off the ground, and being the weird kid that I was, I decided to move from on top of the sofa, where I was supposed to be sleeping, to under it, because obviously monsters can't get me if I'm under the sofa. So, when I woke up, there were police sitting above me taking notes. My grandmother was crying, and the family was on their way back from holiday. I got in so much trouble.
Oh my god. No, that sucks.
That's amazing. Why did you get in trouble for sleeping under the couch?
Because they thought that he was lost.
Well, evidently Grandma needs to work on projecting her voice a bit more if like you didn't wake up when she looked for you.
She was yelling, but she has old lady voice, which is like, honey,
Honey.
oh, where are you? Whoa.
And then when I showed them that I was under the couch, one of the police pepper sprayed me because he was startled.
That's a Vancouver story.
I just added that.
Yeah.
Raven Darkwood 94 says, and then he died. One time when I was 7 or 8, my brother and his friends were on this website watching a viral video. How old are you? You were 7 or 8 watching a viral video?
Babe, that's like...
How old are you now?
I bet
10 or 11?
a bunch of our audience is like that.
I'm 22.
Yeah.
Viral videos, and that would have been like, what? Like...
Yeah, dude.
Wait a minute. You're 22 now, and you were 7 or 8. So this was 16 years ago?
Son of a bugger.
Or this is 14 years ago?
Yeah.
Viral videos weren't around.
Yeah, they were.
14 years ago? What was a viral video back? Oh, E-Bombs World, you're right, there was. Because I was just thinking, like, 14 years ago, YouTube hadn't even started. So there weren't a lot of viral, I don't even think they were called viral videos. They were just
Probably
popular
not.
videos that kids were talking about that you could see on E-Bombs World. I'm taking issue with the word viral video, because viral videos didn't really come about until a couple of years into YouTube time. Like the term and like the way it works. Anyways, all right. Like this is still Homestar Runner times. Okay. Website watching a viral video. They said that they found on the footage had a night vision effect. In the video, showed some. Okay, fine. Popular video everyone had seen and talked about. In the video, it showed some strange small creature being held in the arms by a man and his friend holding the camera. During the video, the creature suddenly springs up and attacks the man and his friend behind the camera. I got a huge fright. That's what he wrote. I immediately ran out of the room and into my bedroom, shivering in fear, and my face was going white like a ghost. I was having images in my head of the video. The worst part was I could not sleep properly because I was still thinking about the video. I was scarred from that for about 2 weeks.
Aww.
I don't think that's also the way that you use the word scarred. I was scarred
Scarred
for
for
it.
2 weeks.
Just 2 weeks. Then the scar went away. Blunderbuss says, oh, this is your moment for redemption. This better not go bad. One time, at least it's short, one time in college, before I turned 21, my dad came outside one morning and found puke on the side of my car and figured the rain would wash away from the previous night my friend throwing up. He made me open the trunk to reveal our stash of beer and other assorted hard liquor. Only time my dad ever said he was disappointed with me.
Oh, the D word.
I'm still grounded for life at 31.
Oh my god. You were such a good kid. How did they not know that?
Grounded for life? Was he serious? I feel as though my dad and I grew closer that day. Frico says, in primary school, I was at my friend's house and went onto sex chat website.
Yeah.
During the chat, women said she revealed, the woman, quote, said she reveals her cleavage. I then asked the woman what cleavage is. Shortly afterwards, she says, she gets on the bed next to me, to which I reply, I come. Quote, I come. She, quote, but we didn't do anything yet, she said in reply.
Oh my god, lady. You need to know that you're dealing with...
He responds, that's just how horny I am for you, I say. And I had no idea why this was a problem. That's really good. Oh my god.
I get under the bed. I come.
It's funny that what's cleavage? It doesn't
yeah.
make her immediately be like, you know what, I'm not in the mood for you.
Yeah.
Even if it's either you're a child or you're Borat. Like.
Oh, here. It's a new one. Oh, wait, no. I think that's the same.
I guess this one's getting animated too. I have a drink of water. Oh. See, this is the thing. And now he's a pornography artist. Like the last story was him looking up porn with his friend. This one's him sexting, cybering with girls when he's in primary school. This is what happens to your kids if you let them on the internet.
Yup. Yeah. Get them all fucked up.
And they can't do anything but draw porn.
And that's never a good thing.
The next story's about porn too. Jesus Christ. One Halloween, can't remember how old I was, but this is Infinity Sorcerer 625. One Halloween, can't remember how old I was, but if I had to guess, I was probably around 10 years old. My parents decided that it'd be fun to go trick-or-treating with my cousin around the neighborhood. This was around the time, he was 10, okay. This is around the time that I was starting not to like going trick-or-treating. What's wrong with you? But I figured, what the hell? All was going fine until we came across one of their friends' parents who were going to be a part of the group, who dressed as Davy Jones from the Pirates Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. This was a legit costume, one a cosplayer would be proud of. He wore a fake prosthetic tentacles. I read testicles.
Don't ask how I knew that.
Painted his face the proper colors, the whole 9 yards. I, having not seen the film yet, was completely repulsed and scared by how freaky the guy looked. I could barely look him in the eye. Then, to add insult to injury, one of the houses we went to, the homeowner thought it'd be fun to both dress and act as the evil hag from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, complete with creepy old man mask and from the 70s. They'd say things like, "Here you go, dearie, some candy fresh from my cauldron," in that hag voice. There were some younger kids who went to that house, and more often than not, I'd hear crying when they left. Parents weren't too pleased. Again, I wasn't scared necessarily, but it extremely put off and freaked me out. Yeah, I was definitely a Chucky Finster kid for those who remember Rugrats. Who's Chucky Finster? I never watched Rugrats. I never liked it.
What does the dice chart do? Yeah, me neither.
The pussy kid?
The kid with the glasses.
Oh, that guy?
And then he pooped his pants.
I never really liked Rugrats. I don't know. I just felt I always
orange-haired kid?
stay away from it. Mm-hmm. It was still kind of within my.
But then it kind of got cool when we were in grade 9, and I put Otay on the back of my football jersey.
Oh wait, you're thinking? Sorry, no, Rugrats. This is.
Rugrats, not the little Rugrats.
Yeah.
The
Little Rascals
really
is what you're thinking of.
Oh yeah. Oh dear. I wasn't really into Rugrats either.
Mr. Timba says, when I was about 8, my parents bought a new refrigerator.
What does Skystar do again, guys?
They had it plugged in and were waiting a couple hours for the temperature to go down before they stored any food in it. So my sister and I decided to play a game. We each took turns getting inside of it to see how long we could stay inside of it. We kept taking turns to beat the other's time. It was small, cold, and dark inside a refrigerator.
Oh my god.
It was small, cold, and dark inside, but we were having fun time. But my sister decided to have more fun at my expense. So after I got in the refrigerator, they just walked away and left me behind in it. After being in there for a couple of minutes, I was pretty scared. I was banging on the door and yelling for a long time before my dad rescued me. He wrapped me in a blanket, and we watched Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves together. It was the best day ever.
Awesome.
But nothing happened to my sister, and couldn't get revenge on them because they outnumbered me 3-1. I never trusted them again. How were you not able to get out? How old are you in this? You're 8 and you weren't strong enough to bust the magnet?
I don't know, maybe it was like...
The magnetic hold on a refrigerator?
God damn it.
Were you about to say like one of the ones that clasped shut?
Yeah.
Those were made illegal way before we were even born.
Oh god, that eye's still working. Guys.
Those locked ones didn't exist. Like they were made illegal in the late 70s because of kids dying in them at the dump.
I bet a lot of places still had them.
Sounds like he was just a really weak kid.
Yeah, it was your fault, kid.
Yeah, old refrigerators locked, and they would they're difficult because of air pressurizing. Bullshit, I've always been able to open refrigerators.
Wow. That's why I'm with you.
Oh, you're saying because somebody's in there breathing? No, we wouldn't get negative air pressure inside because somebody's breathing. Because it's still a net. You were a strong kid, though. Unfair, Frat.
Judgment.
Whoa, that was scary. Mr. Blow says, the first time I ever came home drunk, it was Halloween, and I threw up so much that night all over myself and my bed that my sister said it looked like a scene from The Exorcist in the morning. Jesus.
Yuck.
Gaming Kid 1998 says, this was pretty traumatizing to me when I was a young kid. When it happened, as I never had any serious injury before or after this one. I was 10 years old when it happened. I was playing around with my older brother and he started to run from the kitchen to the hallway. What I didn't know was that there was dog pee on the floor and I slipped and hit my right hip on the door.
You fell.
I couldn't stop crying as the pain was just horrible. There was a big cut open in the right hip. I had to get it stapled. To this day I have a scar.
Oh,
that's just an injury. Sorry, man. But unless you pooped your pants too.
But there was pee in it.
Nope. Next one. Side note. Well, slipping on dog pee does kind of make it a bit more embarrassing. But unless the kids like from then on called you like dog pee slipper idiot guy, who cares? Free Shade says, side note, in brackets, I probably won't be able to make it to the stream. Okay. Due to work and another doctor appointment about my broken wrist.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, man, that sucks to get when you're a gamer. When I was about 10-ish and living in Louisiana with my family through Hurricane Katrina and lost everything. Shit! Well, a few days after everything, my mom, sister, and aunt and grandma went to McDonald's for a bathroom, and we were sitting at a table. All of a sudden, my grandma slams her hand on the table and shouts out an "oh shit." We all looked at her terrified, as does everyone else in the packed place. And wait for her to speak. The next thing out of her mouth was, I bet you all my dildos are floating down the Mississippi. Everyone started chuckling, but I sat there terrified. To this day, at age 21, I still can't see, hear, or talk about dildos without thinking of that.
Without thinking about my grandma.
It's both hilarious and scarring. I never wanted to have to think about my grandma's dildo collection or the fact that is the one thing that she was most worried about after losing everything else in her house. Also, is she the type of person who wants to get a rise out of people? Because it sounds pretty clear to me that she did it on purpose to lighten the situation in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Also, not childhood, but hey, you wanted that to scar even more?
Fucker, shitballs. I'm gonna die.
You want it to scar even more? Just picture that when she got a new set of dildos from then on, she would chuckle to herself and say, it's time to put these down the Mississippi, meaning her vaginal canal. Is how she would refer to it. All of her dildos floating down the Mississippi means just stuffing them all in there.
Thank you for clarifying.
She calls it the Mississippi now.
Juicy. Oh, crap.
Just thought I'd compound it for you.
Now all her dildos are equipped with life jackets.
That's really good. Little life jackets on all her every night. She puts them back on, puts them away.
Oh my god, she uses all of them every night.
Why wouldn't you?
That was my first death. Are you impressed with me?
Wow, you went for a long time. Also, not childhood, but recently accidentally grabbed a coworker's crotch at work and was super embarrassed. He still won't stop hitting on me since that. Wait, Free Shade, you're a girl?
Yeah.
He still won't stop hitting on me then since he thinks it was on purpose, and it's both embarrassing and annoying. I have to constantly tell him it was an accident and that I'm not interested.
That's
yeah, but every time you tell him that it was an accident, do you kind of like laugh?
Probably, it's
because you're embarrassed? Well, that's just compounding it in his head then.
Yeah.
He's like, she's
so into me.
She's so into me. We laugh and talk about the time she grabbed my crotch.
Like that time my sister accidentally grabbed Lenny Kravitz's crotch.
Sadly, the only way you're going to be able to stop that is to like get real serious and...
Yeah. Well, actually, my sister did accidentally grab Lenny Kravitz's crotch, but... You know how it is.
I don't know how it is, but Mr. Timba says, when I was 5, my parents took my family on a vacation to Disney World. It was a lot of fun. We had some fast food on the way down on the road trip, and I can't wait for the next time I go to Disney.
What?
I wanted you to get upset. They took me to Disney World. We drove to from New York to Florida in our RV and stayed at Disney World's campground, Fort Wilderness. They have a campground?
Whoa, we should totally go camping there someday.
It was my first time at Disney World, and I was really excited. At the campground, there was a
it's great.
petting zoo where you could feed animals, ride horses, and stuff like that.
Shut the fuck up.
My parents gave me a handful of pellets to feed the goats.
Oh, goats can be dicks.
Things were going really well until I ran out of pellets. The goats had swarmed me at this point, and there was nothing to feed them with, and they started to bite me.
Yep.
I tried running away, but they chased after me and ran me, knocking me to the ground. I tried to get away from them, but they kept knocking me to the ground and biting me. My grandmother finally came to my rescue and brought me away from the goats, but I never liked goats after that.
You seriously have to watch kids and goats. Like,
goats are pure evil.
Yeah.
Nothing with square pupils can be a good thing. They are evil incarnate. There's a reason why the fucking devil has goat hooves. They can be cute as hell, though. But that's how they get you.
Damn it. The sun says the same.
Novastar92 says, back when I was younger, maybe 10 or so, me and my family vacationed upstate to Mackinac Island. We stopped by the Colonial Fort and up till then I was having fun. My dad and sister wanted to check out something outside of the fort. Maybe the war reenactors, I forget. and I followed along. Now, on our way out, I changed my mind and wanted to go back and look out around side the fort for whatever reason. Me and my dad got into an argument, and I head back on my own. Long story short, I was lost 10 or 20 minutes among 100 other people with no idea where my mom had went.
Aww.
If it wasn't for the nice actor/employee who stayed with me while I was bawling my eyes out, I'm not sure how long it would have taken. Also, in the same vacation, my bike somehow broke after riding the trail while we went out to eat. Worst vacation ever.
Aww.
Could have been beautiful if you pooped your pants while you were lost.
Being lost as a kid, being lost in general is fucking terrifying.
But he did. Jen Ganiel says, when I was 5 or 6, the Eiffel Tower during the holiday at my parents with my family and my family's friends. At the time, I remember having a crush on my friend's sister. Ooh, when in Paris. Who was a couple years older than me. On our way up to the top of the tower, I suddenly had an urge to pee. This is sounding good. We had decided to climb the stairs rather than go up in the elevator. And so I told my parents that my bladder needs
His penis fell off.
about my bladder's needs. They responded simply that we will have to go all the way to the top of the tower to reach the only available toilets. This struck me with dread. We were going up endless staircases. About halfway up, I just pissed myself a lot. This was embarrassing to do right in front of the girl, but hey, it was an understandable situation. We kept climbing to reach the toilets so that I could get a change of clothes, but then I had the urge to go number 2. Again, I told my parents and we increased our pace up the stairs, and it just made things worse. And then I shit myself.
You asked for poop stories.
Now I was quite high up in the tower, cold, covered in my own shit and piss. And standing right next to my crush who looked incredibly disgusted in me. I had to keep going up the tower for 30 minutes in my soiled clothes before racing past lots of disapproving and shocked French people to get to the toilets to get the shit out of my piss-ridden trousers.
Oh.
It was horrific and I cried the whole time. Afterwards, I remember not being able to look at the girl in the eye ever again.
Yeah?
That is just too perfect.
What does this do? Oh, shit. Why would I ever want this?
Exactly, Drifting Nitro, Le Pew. The only thing that could make that better is if a Frenchman was like, Sacre bleu, le petit! Shit. What do you call a skunk? I guess it's Le Pew. Le petit Le Pew! Moufette? While eating a croissant.
Holy, this is a lot of baddies.
Uh-oh, you're in trouble. That was quite the story,
Horrible.
though.
Dude.
Timberwolf says, during the 4th grade, our social studies teacher was the archetype of ruthfulness. Old school marm with ruler in hand, strict in her teaching and disciplines, which, for this story, we were writing out assignments in cursive. Anybody who failed to do so was scolded and docked points from the overall grade, which to little Timber was terrifying. So I began writing only in cursive, not just on her assignments, but for all classes in ordinary writing. I even found a font in MS Word that typed in cursive just so my essays would be safeguarded from losing points.
Aww.
I felt the aftershocks from this ordeal when I went to high school when my teachers began requesting that I print. What? Oh, because type it like the printing out assignments in print?
Oh.
Boy, what a horrible story. You had to write in cursive. Jonas says, so when I was a kid about 5, I was alone in the 3rd floor apartment watching a rented video, Pelle Svanslos, a cartoon of a movie of Swedish about a tailless cat. I had a real fear of being alone. I don't know why. My father wasn't going to be far away as he was working on the car in the parking space outside the window of our living room. So I bit the bullet and tried my best to battle my fear. I must have fallen asleep at one point, woke up and looked outside. The car and my father were not there. I went to the panic mode. I threw on my rubber boots, on the wrong feet, and ran down the stairs out to the parking lot. Nothing, no one. With tears in my eyes, in the worst case of fearful panic and despair, I ran back up to the apartment, sought the comfort of Otto, our long-haired German shepherd. I cried out Otto and went to hug him, and he growled and lashed for my face. Though it didn't ruin my lifelong love for dogs, I did feel rejected at the time. I was later attacked by a strange German shepherd while bobsleighing ripped my jacket to shreds. Still love dogs. I don't remember what happened next, but I guess I crawled up to a ball on the floor and spaced out, but it turned out my father had just went out for a test drive around the corner and the building and had motor failure.
Oh, geez, dude.
Yeah, that is kind of really traumatizing.
Yeah.
I don't think your dad should have left a 5-year-old to get at home if only for a moment.
Well, times were different then.
How old are you now? Who knows? Well, if he's our age still, I don't know. 5 years old. Kids can burn down a house when you're 5. Skittle E says, when I was 5 or 6, my mom gave her old lava lamp for my birthday, which I started to use as a nightlight. A few months later, I noticed that there wasn't much liquid in there as there used to be, so naturally I thought it would be a fantastic idea to fill it up with water. In the middle of the night, I got up to go to the bathroom, and I came back 10 minutes later, the whole thing had exploded. At the time, I didn't feel like bothering my parents, so I just pulled out my sleeping bag and camped out on the other side of the room. Didn't realize until years later that I could have been seriously injured right there.
Yeah, dude.
So it exploded like all over you, like your bed and shit? You could have been like burned. What is in lava lamps? Another story.
I don't know, but I was never allowed to have them because they're definitely gonna burn down the house.
It's wax and what? What's the what's the stuff that's not the wax? I mean, like what's the other shit? I wonder, like oil? Oh my god.
I think so.
What a horrible, horrible thing.
What, Monstro?
A type of oil.
Oh.
I had a feeling it was oil. Another story. When I was 7, I was listening to my grandparents. That could have actually burned down the house.
Yeah.
When I was 7, I was listening to my grandparents and some aunts and uncles talking about something over dinner. I was confused about what they were talking about, but they said something about a rabbit getting hit by a car, and I said, poor rabbit. They were talking about a vehicle. Everybody started laughing at me. Talking about the type of vehicle, the Volkswagen Rabbit. Everyone started laughing at me. I ran away, locked myself in the bathroom, and cried. Hilarious in hindsight, devastating at the time.
Yeah, I hear you. Wasn't it a rabbit that I took for my driving test?
You used a rabbit?
Yeah, Kara's old car.
Oh, that wasn't a rabbit. That was,
What was
something. It was an S coupe. I forget the company.
It was really similar to a rabbit. I have a license? Yeah, since I was 16. You can't live in the country and not have a license. I had a car, too.
Who doesn't have a license?
Well, a lot of people.
Oh my god. What if you need to drive somewhere?
Some people live in the city and grew up in the city.
You gotta get your license. When I was, it just helps you so much in life when you know you can drive.
I do all the errands, I love driving.
All right, when I was in the 5th grade, this is from Veton, I had just transferred school because we moved and had not said a word to anyone yet. First day I was sitting on the swing alone when a kid came up and punched me in the back of the head twice, really hard, knocking me out for about 2 minutes. I was suspended for 5 days for starting a fight because the kid claimed he was defending himself. I spent the next 2 years in that school being blamed as a troublemaker and for being made fun of. Years later, I learned that the kid was mentally disturbed and went crazy in high school and vanished. Oh, good. Yikes. So at least there's some justice to that one.
That's bullshit.
Jonas says, my sister is 5 years older than me, and is she hot? And as a kid, our parents made. I'm channeling my like inner teen now. Like just hearing these stories, because that's the first thing you do. Like you hear somebody has an older sister, you're like, is she hot?
Oh no, I was never a little boy.
Anyways, and as a kid, our parents made her have me tag along when she was out playing with her friends. I didn't mind it at the time, but I realized that it must have been really annoying for her back then. We used to play in the nearby forest, making pretend houses and things like that. She and her friends used to make potions from rainwater and different berries in a piece of car tire used as a bowl, and have me taste it. I know today that some of those berries are poisonous.
Oh my god. That's not okay, sister.
That's great.
Well, I didn't know you guys could do that.
You'd have to eat a lot of berries to actually be poisoned by poison berries.
Even those mushrooms I took a picture of, those red mushrooms, like, they're poisonous, but I think you'd have to eat quite a bit.
Mushrooms you can eat, the worst mushrooms you can eat just a little bit of, but like, I don't think there's a berry in existence that you can die from even after eating a lot of. They just make you horribly sick. But eating a few poisonous berries isn't gonna kill you like cyanide either.
Oh, son of a bitch.
When you're a kid, parents and like adults try to make you feel try to convince you basically that poison berries are like poison to touch almost.
Yeah.
Like you're so terrified when you hear the word poison.
And if you smoke burrs, you're definitely gonna die.
Mr. Blow says, I want to say when I was 6 or 7 when I was in the mall with my family and fell down the escalator. I was tugging on my mom's arm and I guess I get her attention and I lost balance and I fell down the steps and stopped by a lady who was already at the bottom. I have a scar on my arm and to this day I get apprehensive before stepping on an escalator.
Aw. Yo, I can totally get that. Whenever we were at PAX, the last PAX, Fraser and I were on the escalator.
Holy shit, that was fucked up, man.
Yeah, we were on an escalator and we were going down and it sped up and then stopped.
That was really fucked up.
Like really hard.
They almost had a lawsuit on their hands from like a lot of people on that escalator.
Yeah.
The fucking thing, on the way down from the top floor at PAX, instead of like, I've been on escalators that got jammed before and they just go like, kind of like,
yeah.
Or at the very worst, they kind of stop suddenly. Or buckle a little bit, like chuk chuk chuk. I've been on one that did that, but this was the first time ever that we were on one that actually, as it was going down, went like it got faster.
It made that sound too.
It got faster and then stopped dead, and everybody in the escalator almost went on top of each other.
Yeah.
Like it was gonna be a bad scene.
Well, that escalated quickly.
And then we got one of the bad enforcers at the bottom that started just screaming at everybody.
Yeah.
Like, okay guys, listen up! I fucking hate those enforcers.
Some of them, yeah. But then every time we got on an escalator, it's all escalators at PAX West. Every time we got on the escalator, I was kind of like,
Yeah, you gotta be careful on escalators. They can do fucked up shit. But that would have been like huge insurance hit on them if people got injured.
Yeah.
A good impression of bad. There are great enforcers at PAX, but there's also ones who treat you like you're in public school.
Yeah.
Like, as somebody who's had to wrangle crowds before, including our own audience, like, there are ways to handle a crowd and ways to not handle a crowd. When I was 6, I went, this is Mr. Blow again, I went to summer camp sort of thing and was crushing hardcore on this girl for an entire week. After building up the courage to talk to her, she told me that I was weird and she wanted nothing to do with me. I spent the next hour crying my eyes out until my mom came to pick me up. To make things worse, she was in my class when September came around and she told all the girls in the class that I was weird and that they shouldn't talk to me. Probably explains my low self-confidence today. Oh, don't you put this on her.
Fraser had to make it less real. You missed one on the bottom of page 1, by the way.
Oh. The Artist 93 says, so me and my friends were about 12 or 13 and we were staying over at a friend's house for the night. We call him Bill. Being at the age we were, puberty had kicked in and the interest in girls had skyrocketed. We were also night owls, constantly staying up until 2 or 3 in the morning. So Bill calls us over to the computer in his room to show us something. What else could it be other than our first instance of internet porn? The three of us, Bill excluded, were in awe. We perused through several galleries until we heard footsteps from upstairs, which happened to be his parents' room. In a panic, Bill closed out of the window, making a few mistakes along the way. When he'd finally closed out of Internet Explorer, sitting there dead center in the desktop, on the desktop wallpaper was a woman, legs spread and bearing all that life had given her. We freaked. Bill, in somewhat quick-thinking manner, opened a new window and Google searched Six Flags.
Wait, what?
Choosing at random, he replaced the wallpaper as fast as he could. Just as he closed Internet Explorer again, the door to the bedroom opened and Bill's mom standing there. She was pissed and told us to get to sleep. Needless to say, that was and still is the closest any of us have ever come to being to a woman's vagina. I just edited that.
Oh
The closest any of us have come to being caught looking up porn. Visibly. I'm sure most of our parents were just kind enough not to confront any of us about it. Apparently, this is number 2. Apparently, when I was 11, I walked into my mom's room and said, "Mom, my thing won't go down." She looked at me puzzled. At 11?
Oh,
you called it a
11's pretty.
thing?
11's pretty old.
What thing? She asked. My thing, my thing. Her eyes widened a lot, and she told me that sometimes that will happen. Of course, I know fully what was going on, and it's embarrassing as hell, but that didn't stop her from telling the whole family a few years ago at Christmas. Not one bit. Thanks, Mom.
Yup. My nephews, yeah, that happens.
I guess maybe it's because, like, at 11, you don't want to keep calling it the whatever you called it when you were a kid to your mom.
Yeah.
Because it seems awkward to call it that.
But it can also be concerning, like, why is it not going down?
What does your family call it?
Penis?
Our family called it your bird.
Your bird?
Yeah.
Aw, that's cute.
But the problem, it sounds cute for kids, but when you get older, it feels really weird to call it that. Because it's like, it's not. You know it's not, but you don't want to call it anything else. But if you grow up thinking it's called your bird, it sounds weird to call it, a penis. Sounds so clinical.
Yeah.
Call it clean.
Yeah, no. We use what it's called. God, I hate...
So you call it a penis for the boys, but you call the girls a front bum?
Oh yeah, we do call it a front bum.
So you have a cute name for the girls, but you don't have one for the boys?
Well, it doesn't look like a bum.
Mom, my giant cock won't go down. I'm not being boastful. It's just like relative to what I'm used to in the last few years. This thing's giant now.
Funny.
Doublefinger says, "Alrighty, here goes. Actually, Mom, probably since the last time you've seen it, it's giant." Doublefinger says, "While I'm drunk, I'm writing this."
Uh-oh.
I guess he had to work up the courage. When I was in kindergarten, I was drinking from my baby bottle from time to time. Blame my parents. Now, one day, a dentist came to kindergarten to talk about dental hygiene, and we were supposed to talk about the last thing we do before we go to sleep. So I said I drank milk from my baby bottle. Of course, everybody looked at me like I was a freak. I didn't understand while everyone was staring, so I got flustered and started repeating, "But the milk is clean, it's clean."
Oh, no.
And eventually started crying and left the room. So yeah, blame my parents for letting me stay a baby. Oh, that's good shit.
That's amazing.
Good shit. That's straight up Binding of Isaac style.
Yes. The milk is clean.
It's clean!
I swear!
My baby milk is clean! Why are you staring?
No, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Alright, this spoopy story happened in the 2000s when I was 7 years old. It was Christmas Eve and I had decided to go outside and play on the snow. I was outside for quite a few hours, and when it had become dark, I decided to go back home. I went inside, and to my horror, I found the whole house to be empty. Nobody had left a note or anything, and I didn't have a phone to call them. After being scared shitless for around 30 minutes, the whole family suddenly drove to the yard. They had left for Christmas church without me. All of them laughed, and I'm still spooked when I'm alone anymore. You were 7 and they all left
That's
you
insane.
while you were playing outside?
Holy shit.
Don't leave anywhere without telling your kids somehow.
Yeah.
That is fucked.
Like, leave a note or something.
Sorry to hear that, man. Here's Double Finger again. More of a shitty teacher story than an embarrassing one, but who gives a shit? I'm drunk. You didn't write that, but I'm assuming that's why he's... So I got teased and bullied quite often. One day I got teased so much that I got in a fight with another kid and had to go to the teacher. The kid came up with an amazing story claiming that I wanted to be teased and bullied. Guess what? The teacher actually went like, yeah,
What?
I have to agree. Feel like you want this to happen. So yeah, fuck that teacher.
Wow.
Jesus. I have many stories like that. All my problems with authority come from that back in school. And then were compounded by my problems of authority as an adult with fucking police being shitty. Rad Laddie says, there was one time, forever ago, where me and my family went to Disneyland Paris by taking a ferry over from the UK. We stayed at this log cabin in the park. It was cool. There was a Mickey Mouse themed toaster. We stole it. Spooky. Raddy, get the fuck out of here. Freako says, me and my friend were on LimeWire looking for Simpsons episodes.
LimeWire.
Oh my god, LimeWire. The other Napster.
Ooh.
What else was there? There was LimeWire, and then there was... That was the main one that replaced Kazaa.
Kazaa.
BearShare. Wasn't BearShare and
shit.
Kazaa just reskins of LimeWire? Weren't those all just reskins using the same network?
That's when I knew things about how to download.
Man, that sucked the day Napster went. It was a real heyday for a while.
Oh yeah.
It was good times, man. Anywho, Frigo says, me and my friend were on LimeWire looking for Simpsons episodes. We found a video named Funniest Video Ever and downloaded it. Oh my god, that was the biggest... Yeah, you had to just go on Trust back then. You had no
they
choice.
say it's the funniest.
You didn't have thumbnails, you didn't have comments or ratings,
Yeah.
you just had to believe that, well, if he says it's the funniest video ever, it clearly isn't
gotta
him
be.
goat-seeing himself and his family. It was video about some kid getting hit with a basketball from half court, which then fizzled out into a video of an Asian woman shitting diarrhea pebbles into another Asian woman's mouth. My friend laughed hysterically. I had to run to the bathroom to vomit. I was legit traumatized.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
And trusting didn't always work.
Ugh. Could have been better if it was eel soup.
No. Mwah.
You have to refresh for another story? Oh, maybe after. Wolfman Gaming says, once when I was about 10 years old, I was living in Florida with my father. We were at an ice cream place because it was very hot out that day. It was dripping all over my hand because I was 10 and dumb, and he said, just eat it. But I still didn't understand. Finally, he just took out the bottom of the cone and shoved it in my face, and the everybody in the ice cream shop started laughing at me, and I cried a lot. That was Wolfman Gaming. Stridlock says, when I was younger, We had an escape ladder that would drop into my neighbor's backyard. Holy fuck.
Nice. Was your neighbor hot?
Yeah, was she hot? The drop was about 15 feet, according to my mother, from the ladder to the ground, and I'd somehow make it every... Wait. Just about hot neighbors. Did I ever tell you about how we were all at Matt Krogman's having like a video... I shouldn't say his full name. Anyways, one of my buddies from school. He's a cool guy.
Too late.
But we were having like a video game party.
Uh-huh.
So I guess we were probably about 14.
Uh-huh.
But like all the other kids went over to see if another guy was home.
Uh-huh.
I think it was to see if
Dave?
Briar's brother was home because they knew he had a game. And the kid, I think it was Jason
Okay.
S, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Knew that he had a game and like was on good terms with them, so he went to go see if he did. But then they came back and they were saying that when they went there was no answer at the door, so they knocked on the window and they looked in the basement. Briar's older sister was running down the stairs, like drying her hair, topless, and that her boobs were bouncing as she ran down the stairs.
But you didn't go?
I wasn't there. Only 2 kids went, Jason and another kid, and they came back and like both of them were swearing, and my lie detection told me that they weren't lying. Like we like quizzed them on so many details to like really figure out if they were fucking making it up just to make us pissed.
Yeah.
I have never been more jealous in my fucking life.
Wow.
Like, just think about missing out on that when you're a teenage boy.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking bullshit.
And her older sister's hot, right?
Yeah.
I can't even remember what she looked like, but I did remember thinking that she was hot.
Bitch, but she's hot.
Is she a hot bitch?
Yeah.
It's even hotter. Anyways, when I was younger, I had okay, I went to the neighbor's backyard. The drop was 15 feet, according to my mother, from...
She was mean to my sister, for the record. That's why I said
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. Because my sister's gay, and apparently it's fun to make fun of that.
That old family was shitty. From the ladder down to the ground, and I'd somehow make it every time I wanted to explore. The thing was, I didn't go exploring far. I just dropped down and climbed up the tree nearby. While up there, I'd perch myself on the bench and hang out of it, and I discovered I had a fear of wasps, as once I noticed one buzzing around and I started to cry in that tree and waited for someone to come pull me down. Odd thing was, the tree wasn't that tall to begin with. Jumping from it was less than a fall from the ladder, but I couldn't do it. I was never even stung. I did, however, continue to climb that tree a few more times and didn't worry about it. I'd cry and I'd wait for someone to get me down from it after. I don't know why.
Aww.
My fear of wasps was finally realized a few years later when I was in the backyard of my babysitter's house. I noticed something underneath the shed next to the wooden stove love swing. Were dozens of black and yellow bugs flying around. Yellow jackets? Going in and out from under that shed. Naturally, I did as any dipshit would do. I approached the hole, a small plastic bucket of sand, and attempted to cover it. After pouring it and finding this wasn't enough, I tried to kick sand into the opening and then went to grab another bucketful. This is when I got my first sting ever, then another and another. That's also when the entire yard of kids was sent into a screaming fit. Kids wailing in every direction and being rushed inside. Those wasps managed to get inside my shirt, as well as my shorts, and sting me. It was hell on earth. No matter where I ran, the stings kept coming. Once I was inside, my babysitter pressed onions to the stung areas of my body. You know what? If you have a house full of kids that just got a yellow jacket attack, babysitter, you call the fucking ambulance. You call 911.
Well, if they aren't having a reaction, I wouldn't call 911.
I wouldn't wait. There's not enough time to check that many kids to know if that's going to happen. There's no shame in calling 911 when an entire group of kids gets attacked by yellow jackets.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
They're going to have the equipment to fucking deal with it. This experience solidified my fear. No one ever figured out what happened that day. I kept that to myself out of fear of getting punished. Wasn't your fault.
Aw, no.
Babysitter kept to let a nest of yellow jackets continue to flourish in her backyard.
Shit.
You can be allergic to anything.
Actually, yeah, whenever I think about how quickly my reaction to getting stung by a bee The ambulance got there in time. They just had to stick the thingy in my arm.
All right. As a socially awkward middle schooler, I knew that most of my friends were starting to date, or they said they had girlfriends. This is goggle candy. I wasn't really sure how to start this process and sort of tried and failed as one does when your balls haven't dropped. It was 6th grade outside on the playground when a girl in my class, Heather, asked me out on a date. I accepted and was really excited and nervous about the whole thing. We had agreed to go on our date 3 days later to a dinner and movie, since that's what I knew people did on dates. A day before the date, sorry, I'm reading this so shitty. I'm getting distracted by that guy's voice.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll just wait for you to get out of this room.
I'm done.
Okay. A day before that date, one of my good female friends came up to me to tell me that a group of female students had drawn straws and the loser had to ask me on a date.
Aww.
Apparently, she refused until they all agreed to give her a total of $20 after the ordeal. So, I have every sort of confused emotion going through me unsure what to do. I'm crying. My mom is trying to console me, and my friend came over to hash out what we should do. I came to the realization that if she was going to do that sort of shit, she was going to work for it. My original plans were Olive Garden and The Lion King. Like, actually have to go on a date. Which was still playing in the release theaters. To McDonald's drive-thru and Santa Claus.
Aww,
and the Santa Claus, which
cute.
Doesn't sound bad, except I remember it was something like before November 20th, so yeah. I went with awkward. I didn't yell or accuse her during the situation, but it did sting to know how far down on the totem pole I was for the rest of middle school.
Aww.
Ouch.
That's mean, man.
That is shitty. When I was in grade 6, I went out with the hottest girl in school.
Yep.
Kim.
Oh.
Everybody
nice.
knew she was the cutest because she was like
She's still
blonde
really cute.
and like very like smiley, and she was also a bit of a tomboy too.
Yeah,
so she was like the whole package. And I
that's a good
totally
score.
went out with her for like the whole time. But like going out when you live in the country and don't live in town with her meant basically just saying you went out with each other.
Yeah, that's really cute.
And then, this is actually a little bit embarrassing. She moved away for like a grade, and I was really kind of heartbroken because like I really liked her, not just as like having as a girlfriend. I really liked Kim. I thought she was cool. She was fun. But then, word was she was coming back because she still lived in town, I guess, but was going to another school. But I never got to see her because I never spent any time in town.
Yeah.
But like, so one of the town kids, Graham, found out she was coming back, and came and told me, says, Kim's coming back. What do you think of that, or something like that, or something? And it's like, and then I like, because I knew he was being a shit, I was like, I bet you she misses me or something as a joke. And he decided to go around and be like, oh, he thinks that she misses him and stuff, like I was boasting for real, even though it was a sarcastic joke because I was trying to get rid of him. So he goes around saying that, and to her. Thankfully, Kim was awesome and was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like we ended up hanging out again.
Aw.
We never, well, that's the thing, we never went out again, but then in high school she later listed me as another person that she went out with twice, so she thought we were again.
Aw.
I guess.
Shit,
in grade
man.
8.
Should've
Like, man,
capitalized on that.
yeah, I never got even a kiss out of Kim.
Aw. That's balls.
One time after getting off the bus after school, I started to run from a dog. This is from Jimbo JJ26. They're saying your character is amazing. They love this character.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
He's pretty good. You
one
unlock
time-
Lilith if you beat greed mode with him, which is why I had like 19 losses before I started, because this was what I was focusing on.
One time after getting off the bus at school, I started to run from a dog that started to chase me. The bus made a loop around to get a better look at what was going on. Turns out the dog was a Chihuahua. I was in high school. Wow.
What happened?
They were in high school and he ran from a Chihuahua.
Oh. That's too bad.
And I guess the whole bus was watching. Another time in 5th grade, I let slip to some friends that I liked a girl in class. I begged them not to say anything, but they told her. She approached me about it, and without so much as looking in her face, I ducked down and crawled away under some desks as fast as I could. Needless to say, I was a bit of a wimp as a kid. The same guy who runs from Chihuahuas.
I like you. What did I get in here? I forget.
Mr. Hide and Seek says, one Halloween night, my parents and I were trick-or-treating through the neighborhood. Towards the end of the night, we approached a house with a really long walkway that led to something that terrified me and instantly made me want to stop trick-or-treating. At the very end of the walkway, giving out candies was a little person, midget/dwarf. When my parents asked me why I wanted to stop, I just made up a story that I was getting tired and wanted to go home or something, but reality, I was terrified of the little person.
Aww.
To this day, I really feel shitty about this.
Aww, you didn't know you were a kid.
Bonus story, when I was 5, I shoved a bead up my nose and my family freaked out. They rushed me to the hospital but when they got there, the bead had disappeared. To this day, they don't know if the bead fell out or if I swallowed it and shit it out later.
Nice.
Lauren B518 says, years ago, my parents decided to take me and my 2 sisters, were they hot, to Halloween mini golf. At one hole, my sister Jessie, who is a fellow turbo, noticed must be hot. All turbos are hot.
Obviously.
That's what you pay $50 for to get hot. Who is a fellow turbo, noticed a scarecrow at the other end of the hole, leaning towards the fence. None of us wanted to go down there to golf, so my dad went down to show us it was not real. When he got down there and went to poke at the scarecrow, the guy dressed as the scarecrow yelled and jumped out at him. It scared all of us so much, including my dad.
Nice. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Real tough, Dad. Miss Fable says, oh, that's where the money goes. You haven't felt it yet?
You should feel the hot.
Is your dad hot? Says, I love Gma. Wolfman Gaming says, one Halloween, I was out with my friends around 13 and my friends made a plan without me. We went into an empty road and some of my other friends popped out from the bush and threw stale popcorn balls at me and filmed me screaming in fear. That's really shitty.
One time when we were in high school, oh!
What did you eat?
Or candy. That turned
Oh, it
into
had a razor blade in it?
Yeah.
Jesus. What happened in high school?
One time in high school, my friends kidnapped me from the cafeteria during lunch and drove me into the middle of nowhere and dropped me off. And then left.
How long did they leave you there?
Long enough that I was walking home. Or walking back to school. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's a pretty shit gag.
Yeah. And then they like took pictures of it and put it all into
Which
a
friends?
book. Like Heather.
Yeah.
Do you want me to name them all?
Yeah.
It's funny because she just came to Vancouver. We're still really good friends with her. I love her. And like, I don't know. I don't want to name all of them. I do still call them friends. The thing is, like, it really pissed me off and I was really fucking mad at them. But the fact that they chose me and made a book out of it and like this big joke meant that they thought I could handle it.
Yeah.
But I was like, really mad.
So when she says in the middle of nowhere, she knew where she was.
Oh yeah, I knew where I was.
It's not like
I know
they took her
exactly
somewhere where
the
she didn't
concession
know.
I was on, but it was like,
We grew up in the country, so if you take us to a concession, we know where we are.
yeah.
You'd have to take us really far to be somewhere we don't know.
Yeah. But that was
Basically, it just means you have to walk for a couple hours,
yeah. Probably would've
which
been a
isn't
couple
fun.
hours. Shit. Ruin that opportunity.
Timmy Tonka says, I used to hate wearing underwear. One time I peed my underwear, and to hide the shame, I stuffed it down the air vents in the top floor of my house.
Oh no!
It went all the way down into the furnace and made the whole house smell like pee. My dad somehow dragged it out with a fishing rod.
Oh shit, dude.
Wow. That's really, really rough.
Yeah, the whole house would have reeked. That's like something I would do. Sorry, buddy.
Jackson says, this is Jax on 95. So I have like a itchy nose. When I was about 9 or 10, I went trick-or-treating after about 2 weeks of being sick. I was wearing a pretty sweet night costume, and about halfway through trick-or-treating, I had an upset stomach, so we went to walk back home. About 200 meters away from my house, I could feel something run down my leg. I pulled up one of my leg pants, and there it was. I had pooped my pants. My friend's mom rushed and drove me home, and my friend's sister vomited in the car. Not a good Halloween.
Oh my god. That sucks.
Yeah, it's a shitty Halloween, literally. Evangelion says, when I was a kid, around 6 or 7, I was pretty stupid, all kids are. But I went to daycare in a church after school every day, and one day all the other kids wanted to play, quote, house. I was the dad. Oh, that's sweet. And the mom came up to me and wanted to take a play shower. Dude, living the dream.
Holy crap.
Me being an idiot, took this seriously, started stripping and chasing the other kids around butt naked. And then ran into the service going on in the other room and presented myself in front of the adults. I still have regrets of this.
Oh my god. How old? That's hilarious.
I'm picturing like an entire daycare of kids running away from him in this room.
How old was this person then?
6 or 7. So like grade 1 or 2.
Oh fuck, that's amazing. Oops.
Whoa, I've never seen this, Patty. Oh, that's intense.
Yeah, it's intense.
Mandy says, one Halloween when I was about 9 or 10, I dressed up like a roller skating waitress. Whoa, were you hot? Wait, 9 or 10, shit. I thought I was a good roller skater, but I wasn't, especially when it came to going up and down driveways while holding a tray in one hand. I refused to take the skates off though, because I was determined to, well, it's
You're
the
in
costume,
character.
but I was determined to get better. I scraped up my knees really bad and have permanent scars from it.
Oh jeez, dude.
How bad did you scrape up those fucking knees?
Oh god, this is a bad time. This is
I'm
not good.
Evanful says, when I was maybe 7 years old, I went to a vampire trick-or-treating as a vampire and finished collecting candy on my street, and we were moving to the next one. I had to take a leak. So, as you do, you piss in a bush. As I was pissing, I peed all over my costume and didn't tell anyone, so I went around a full 3 hours trick-or-treating in my piss. Scariest shit I've ever done. Just complete straight-faced.
Damn it. And then you pooped your pants.
Back in 2013, I was looking for reaction videos to E3. I came across a video of this freak watching the Sony conference with massive headphones surrounded by plush toys. When the Sony announced that there's be no PS4 gaming restrictions, he jumped out of his seat and spazzed out.
Who the fuck
I
would
gasped
that be?
and closed my laptop. Evangelion says, also in regards to my scary stories, Evangelion's scary story was the naked play shower.
Nice.
Also, in regards to my scary story, is my grandma's house, I'm guaranteed was haunted, even though I refused to believe in ghosts. Every day, when you would leave the house, if you looked up at the window from outside, looking into the cellar, there would always see a ghost rocking on a chair. But if you went up there, the chair would move from the window back to its position. Also, at night, you could hear creaking and heavy footsteps, and when you would go to check the boxes and other things would be moved around.
Yep, it's haunted.
No, you either didn't see what you saw, or there's a logical explanation.
Haunted. Really, that's the logical explanation.
I missed one on page 1, right?
Yeah, like Shara's.
Gaming Kid?
I believe.
I only see Gaming Kid.
Oh, okay, maybe it was Gaming Kids, and Lyshora was just telling us.
This one's pretty traumatizing. Wait. No, I didn't miss one on... Oh, I must have... Oh, you mean yes, I skipped it. I thought you guys meant I didn't see the last one on the page.
That's what I thought.
Lyshora says, in 6th or 7th grade, the students at my school go on a class trip where we ski to a big cabin in the middle of nowhere and stay there for a weekend. In this cabin, there was a sauna. Oh my god, dude, you're just spelling out like perfect time for your first naked in a sauna kiss. In this cabin, there was a sauna, and then on the first night, there were boys who got to use it first. And then, when taking a sauna, the only natural thing to do, obviously, is to run outside naked and jump in the snow to cool down. Like, sure, are you Scandinavian?
That only makes sense.
I happen to also have to pee, so I thought, why not just run around to the back of the cabin and have a pee while I'm out there? I did not, however, expect that right around the corner were most of the girls building snowmen. And when running around the corner, I ran right into one of them, knocking her down, which made them all look at me. And in my haste to run back, I slipped and fell and peed myself. No, he didn't pee himself, making it just a little bit worse.
That's
was
really
it embarrassing,
for them, though.
or were you in a position to at least be able to laugh about it? I feel like in Scandinavia that wouldn't be as embarrassing.
Yeah.
Those people are way more comfortable with nudity. And then they got married. As is Scandinavian tradition. The first girl you bumped into while taking a sauna and running outside. She got up and was like, I'm so happy. We laughed later, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think that's nearly as embarrassing as it would be if you were not Scandinavian.
Yeah.
We're taught to be very ashamed of our nudity in the West. Frigo's bonus story says, I was at my friend's place again, still in primary school. His parents were gone, so we went to his parents' room. Underneath the bed was a plethora of VHS porn tapes. Most notably, it was one called Freaks of Nature, quote. We watched it, and what we saw was a woman with massive balloon tits, chicks with dicks, and a black guy with a massive 3-foot dick. His parents were kinky as fuck, apparently.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part for that kid, knowing that his parents own that.
Yeah, that's another thing that's gonna, like, kids see that shit and is like, huh, so that's what people look like when they're naked.
Yeah.
Next one, Fate Creator says,
okay, good.
I do not believe in ghosts. However, I had a strange moment from my past. An orange fox ran from my door, which was closed, to under my bed right before going to sleep, which was around 9:30.
An orange fox?
There was no fox in the house or underneath my bed when I checked. Scared the ever-living shit out of me that night, and still can't get the noise of the furry animal of its size rubbing its back against the wooden supports of my bed since.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Weird. Otaku Dan says, was in kindergarten about 22 years ago. My school had Halloween costume parade in the main hallway with the other kids. In the middle of the thing, this older kid wearing a wolf mask scared me. I smacked him in the face with a hard plastic sword. It was the 90s. No one gave a shit back then if you had a toy weapon at school.
Yeah.
Also, in a panic, he started crying. I started crying because I felt bad that I had hurt him. You loser. Did I tell the time about? I'm sure I've told about the time where a kid took apart my I think it was Kinect's
Ooh, nice.
structure, and this is when Kinect's had just come out.
How did I get hurt already?
And they had it at school. Why the fuck their school had Kinect's? I have no idea, but like it's pretty badass for our school.
Yeah,
It
dude.
was grade 1, and he started, and the teacher told them to disassemble all the stuff, but I'd built this wicked ass structure, and he just started taking it apart. And so I slugged him.
Ooh.
And it was probably to this day the best punch I've ever landed. It just like, you know, if you've ever landed a punch
Yeah.
that like really lands well, you just feel it. It's like, just feels so good. It's just like, and like, and even, and for that to happen in grade 1,
Yeah.
to land a punch so well when you have no weight in your arms, all the weight's in your core, and your arms are just like these little nubs. And yeah, I was raging, and I wasn't actually quick to temper as a kid. I was really like mild-mannered.
Did
But
your parents find out about this?
no, I got off easy.
Whoa, dude.
So what happened was, like, I think what really set me off was that he was taking it apart. I was like, wait, stop, what are you doing? And he's like, teacher said I'm allowed. And he's going like this, like looking at me while he does it. I was like, nothing actually set me off more than taking apart my Legos or that. Like, seriously.
Oh my god. Okay, continue.
And the teacher all she did was make me go to the bathroom with him to help him clean up his bloody nose. But like, what was really gross, this kid had like just reams of snot coming out, like yellow. Like, I'm almost like wondering if he had just a horrible sinus infection and I just set it off. It was like yellow snot just, and I was like, I can't help you with this. Like, I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, you really pissed me off. But what the fuck is going on? He's just like looking at me like collecting it. And I was like, you cleared his sinuses.
Yeah.
But like the other time I was talking about like Legos, like one time I was flying this thing. I've told you about this, I think.
Probably.
Flying my Lego plane around, like kind of going in circles. Maybe about 6 years old or something, like maybe grade 2 or 3. And hit the side of the wall by accident because I was dizzy, I guess, and it like busted the whole thing to hell. And my mom laughed at me. And my mom was such a nice mom. That was the first time I felt like I was really betrayed by her. Like, she just completely was just, fuck, I've told this one, and she was just like,
No, Fraser.
it just felt so wrong that she was laughing. I was like, how could you? And so I just looked at her with the worst face I could imagine giving her, and it was just like this face of pure rage, like just like, like this, and like she sent me to my room for the face.
Right.
Just because the face was so hate-filled.
Yep.
But anyways, what were you gonna say?
So about you not liking people taking apart your Lego. Fraser also doesn't like it when people play with his Lego. Because one Christmas,
This is recent. This is like 2 years ago.
one Christmas I bought Fraser Lego.
Because I thought it would be like, yeah, I guess she heard I was saying on the set, I want some Lego. Man, I've never had Lego in a long time. So you bought me a set.
Yeah. And then my cousin and her girlfriend came over for Christmas, and
I just dumped it out before anybody came over.
Yeah.
I just dumped it out, and I was
all
looking
on
at the
the table.
instructions as I was starting to put stuff together. And I was like, this is kind of fun. I haven't done this in forever. And I was a kid who liked following the instructions until late. Like, I'd make my own creations. But like the first time, I always made the thing.
yeah.
And I was putting it together.
You can tell the story.
No, go ahead.
And then, so they came over and they saw Lego, and so we all started playing with it, because like you're allowed to play with other kids' toys.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, cool, Lego.
Yeah.
And started putting it together, thinking it was just a thing to do on Christmas.
Yeah, and then they made like all the things in the instructions and stuff,
And I just didn't touch it again.
and Fraser never once touched it. It was like not cool anymore because they played with it already.
I just wasn't interested. I wasn't being like, I wasn't brooding. I wasn't like pouting.
Were
I was
you
like,
not?
no, I really wasn't. I was just like, huh. I mean, I was a little bit upset. I did like You know, but I had plenty else to do that day. It totally took away from the fun that other people were doing it.
Yep.
It needs to be my project.
Never played with the Lego.
But don't picture like I was pouting or like taking like a fucking like little pout trip. I didn't really give a fuck. When I was 11, my mom and I went out for trick-or-treating. We came back to her car and we started, this is from the girl named Sig. We came back to her car and started driving. When my car stopped working, we pushed it out of the street, and my mom had went to a nearby house to call a friend to help. It was like 2 a.m. While she was asking to use the phone, a man snuck up behind her and put a gun against my head.
What?
I was so scared that I didn't remember what he said, but I asked him if the gun was loaded. He said yes, but I said I didn't believe him. I asked him to show me the bullets, and he sighed and walked away, and I never told my mother.
Jesus Christ. That's terrifying.
That's pretty badass. You're pretty badass. Yeah, that's not really a funny story or I mean, it is traumatizing, but it's not a horror story either.
Certainly traumatizing.
I don't mind that story. That's actually pretty damn badass. You're just like, I don't believe you. Show me the bullets. Fine. Goodbye.
Woof.
Timmy Tonka says, one night, as I was trying to fall asleep in the basement, I heard weird noises come from under my bed. It sounded like a xylophone, but played very slowly. I was freaking the fuck out, basically, and every time I stood up to check it out, it stopped.
Damn it.
Finally, I ran to my parents and made my dad come and check it out. Turns out my pet mouse, the cage was on the top floor, escaped and made its way through the vents to my room and slowly clawed at the vents under my bed. Scariest night of my life. Aw, poor guy.
It sounded like a xylophone?
Like,
oh.
and he's like clawing at like the little vents. He probably knew where his home was and his food and his bed and was trying to get back.
Little fella.
I don't know if I've said this on the show, but one of my guiltiest memories as a kid, my mouse escaped and it took like 3 hours to get him back in.
Aww.
He just kept running away and I just couldn't fucking get him back. I finally got him back and I was mad at him, so I put him back inside and I just swung around and around like in a circle with the cage like this, and he was up like against the side.
Aww.
And like,
it probably still makes you feel bad, doesn't it?
when I put it back down, it was like shaking.
Oh.
From that day forward, for like the next month, I would spend bus rides on the way to school pinching myself like this, as hard as I could, for extended amounts of time to punish myself for it.
You have Catholic
It made me
guilt.
so guilty for having done it in like a moment of like annoyance and anger, because I was just so mad at him. I was like, this will teach you. I didn't think it would make him shake, you know? So I got punished for it. I was a good kid. Like a stupid moment like that, I made sure I paid. And I like just remember having like these welts up and down my arm from it, just from like remember what you did to that mouse.
It's really sad.
Because if any, like Becky will tell you, like I love animals to no end. And like if I ever, when I get old enough where I have a disposable income where I can do real fucking charity work, like it's going to animals. Okay. Great. But I won't stop eating them, by the way.
You won't stop beating them?
Eating them.
Oh.
I can't stop eating animals.
No, they're really good.
But I do think that I'm like, I could see potentially, you know, donating to organizations that audit farms and that say that they're humane.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, associations that like try to catch shitty farms, because I want cows, but I just want cows that didn't die shitty or live shitty.
Yeah.
But I still don't feel like I can afford beef that's guaranteed to have been like that.
Excuse me.
We actually just had that restaurant that said that it will only serve humane beef. And it was a big anti-Canadian story here in the news because it was what's the name of it? Earl's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And they're an American chain who said that they have to get it from the States because there is no certification in Canada for cruelty-free beef. And so, like, Alberta farmers, like, tried to shame them in the media for, like, not getting Canadian beef.
Yeah.
And it made me, like, start looking up, like, where is this humane certified beef and where can I buy it? But we don't have certification for it in Canada.
Not to the extent that they have it in the States. And also, like, a lot of butchers have been shut down in the past, even though they are humane, because they don't get the standards. Like,
they consider themselves humane, but maybe it's not humane to this association standards.
I don't know. My uncle's butcher shop got shut down, and everything he did was absolutely
It's probably hard for the little companies to keep, like, up with standards, but I mean, that's kind of the wave of the future. Everything's becoming less little.
Yeah.
Fact is, I want my cows completely oblivious right before the bolt goes through their head.
Yeah.
I want them just walking along. I've seen footage of it where they do it, and it seems so good. They're just sitting there, they're like chewing cud, like they don't even know that they're in a butcher shop. And then this machine just comes down and they go pop, and the cow just goes like this. Like, it looks so perfect.
You know what? I want this.
When you say it like that, it's seriously, you have to see the video. If you don't, like, I love animals, and I watched it and I was like, that's a pretty damn good way to go. Like, it has no idea. It's not struggling, it's like literally chewing cud with its, like, they kind of like, they bring them into these bars that get closer and closer together as they walk in, so they don't know it, but they can't move their head anymore. So they're just walking along. So the head, because the head can't move, it's easy for the guy without any struggle or anything just to, like, put the machine that just goes like that, bam.
Yeah.
And they have no idea. Like, because there's no stress from the cattle in front of them, there's no stress coming up. They have no idea. All they see is the cow in front of them that just died. He's on a conveyor belt, so he just continues going, and they don't know that he just got killed. I wish I didn't hear this. It's making me sad.
I was just gonna say, this probably makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
Why does it make you sad? It makes me happy, like, to know that there's, like, butcher shops that do that the cows have no idea.
Oh shit.
Anyways, so there's a bunch of people who aren't going to be eating beef for a long time now. When I was a little kid, my family and I went to Disney World. This is from Gracchio. Went to Disney World. My family wanted to go to the rocking coaster, but I was short and I had to stay with my grandma's house.
Being short sucks. I was short for way too long.
I was so pissed that I just ran away from her. Then, after a while, I got scared because I was alone, and I remembered my mom told me to find a staff member if I ever got lost and explain to them what happened. So, found a staff member and told them my grandma was a meanie, so I ran away from her. I was a little shit and got her into trouble. All right, Doublefinger says, one day I was invited to a friend's birthday party. I was 5 or 6. They had pasta for dinner, and I took a little bit too much hot sauce with the pasta, so much that I puked over an entire hallway of their house. Now, I was too proud to admit it, so that I took too much hot sauce, so I kept claiming, tonight's a full moon. That's the cause.
Oh, buddy. Good
I kept claiming that until I went home shortly after.
That's pretty funny. It's a full moon.
That's the cause.
Duh.
G Thrasher 128 says, these aren't funny Halloween stories, but I figured I would post some ghost stories that happened to me. I was about 9 or 10 when this happened. I was laying in bed and something just felt weird. I had my head under the sheets for a while and I decided to pull them down. as I did, this face came through my doorway and said, God, and leave, and left. It looked like a person just peeked in there, so it looked like my mother, so I actually got up and my mother was in her bed, and I woke up to ask her if she did that, and she said she didn't. There are a lot of them in here. Landlord was 93 years old and would use a snowblower when it snowed. Obviously, he was too old to operate such a heavy piece of machinery, and my mother asked if he wanted to do it, her to do it. He said no. He was a very stubborn old man. As he was pushing it, he had a heart attack and died in front of me. The fire
Holy
chief
shit.
just happened to drive by and see it and ran to him, but it was too late. His family came over a couple weeks later, and she said we actually take whatever we wanted from his apartment. We needed a plunger, so we took his. Ever since then, our toilet used to flush by itself. We would literally hear the hand jingle. All right, this is ridiculous. Number 3. This one actually happened. This is all from, you have G Thrasher to thank for these shitty ghost stories. Literally. This one actually happened not that long ago, maybe 4 or 5 years. I was on the computer doing whatever, decided I want to go to bed. As I was walking away, this white
look at my
thing-
head. Look at me.
Never been like that before?
No. Crazy. Sorry, continue.
As I was walking away, this white thing shot up from the ground in the ceiling and made me jump back. To this day, I have no idea what I don't give a fuck about your stories anymore.
Fraser doesn't believe in ghosts.
Yeah, and yours just sound like like all of that just smacks of I totally believe in ghosts, and here's my stories of how it happened, all these things that happened. Here's your explanation for 90% of them. It was a raccoon. Colonel McMuffin. 20 years ago, I had... Fraser, mine is science face below it. Okay. Colonel McMuffin says, 2 years ago, I had 2 nights where I woke up to loud banging and sounded exactly like someone was banging on my bedroom door, and I heard creaking sound. Poor G Thrasher, fuck off. Sounds like I heard a creaking sound around the house. I was living alone in a big house and I was paranoid, so after a few days I was just frozen in bed when waking up and barricading my door. This is while you were... This is 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I decided to Google this happening to other people and realized that
Oh God, why'd you Google?
it was a sleeping phenomenon where people with little to no sleep think they hear things loud or someone shouting to wake them up due to lack of sleep. I was working 2 jobs back to back, so I got 2 to 3 hours of sleep. I was relieved. Now, I've had that.
Yeah.
Where you wake up almost violently because you thought you heard like something loud or something like...
Like me screaming in bed beside
you. No, that happens when you, especially, it's true, when you get little sleep and you're on like, you're having like you're so overly overtired. And you know you're tired, but you're still in this weird state of like light sleep.
Yeah.
And you like wake up sometimes to that, also to that like, you know where you have a dream where you're falling and you wake up to the...
Yes.
To the, almost like you bounced.
Yeah.
You get those when you have a little sleep too.
I think I've had those.
You can die from those? How? Heart attack?
Oh, sleep paralysis. Those are so fucking weird.
I had sleep paralysis once. Or a few times.
Yeah.
Mainly it's because I know I'm dreaming and I need to like, it's like just wake up, wake up, wake up.
Five. Yeah, I'll do that.
Firemen often die early in their careers due to the jump they get from an alarm.
Really?
Jesus.
Huh.
I didn't see anything. I just had like been sleeping and want to get up because of like some, you know, thing that's bad. I don't know.
Okay, so for the record, whenever I tell Fraser or try to tell Fraser ghost stories, he reacts exactly the same
Oh yeah.
to me.
No,
He completely...
your ghost story has to be pretty compelling for me not to
Discounts
roll
it.
my eyes and skip
Yeah.
it.
I don't think I've ever been able to tell him one.
They're all bullshit. It's got to be entertaining in
Says
somewhere
you.
besides just like I actually liked his because like I mean a story where you're scared is good in
Yeah.
the moment because like I said I don't mind it like there's nothing wrong with being scared or freaked out in the moment even if you don't believe in ghosts you can easily be freaked out by shit.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me stories that are like and I still to this day don't know about that or whatever this or that or I don't know. G Thrasher just had 5 posted. And so you look like a serial I believe in ghosts person.
Maybe they do, and that's okay.
And I'm not interested in your stories then.
But Fraser,
like I said, I'm
will
interested in the
discount
people
it.
who don't believe in ghosts telling me when they got freaked out.
Yo, which of these 3 should I pick up?
It's like your sister.
The one on the right?
Like
1, 2, or 3? I'm thinking 3, right, guys?
Your older sister has like I feel like has stories about the mark far right.
3? Yeah, I was thinking 3.
Becky's
as well.
older sister's like non-stop. Like every other week she's got a scary story.
Yeah.
Because there's just ghosts follow her. She's a vessel, I guess.
Yeah, so.
Fucking ridiculous.
And her daughter.
Is she hot? They just said.
Oh, my sister?
Who did you think I was talking about?
My niece.
No, they just no. Rad Laddie says.
That one again.
Rad Laddie says, back in primary school in Blackpool, there was a Halloween costume contest in class. I'm shit at costume making myself, or at least I'd always hated wearing costumes. But this time my mom made me a Pinocchio costume. And what do you know? I won and everyone praised it. But I pissed my pants while on stage because I was terrified. No one realized it at the time, even me. There was a fair sort of thing afterwards, and I was apparently waddling around when the teacher came up to me. She could smell the piss, so my mom got called and I was taken home. I think that's one time where I was praised and had done something shameful at the same time. So to this day, I can't get an orgasm without peeing my pants and having someone praise me for it.
Yeah, right.
I added that part, but I mean that's where it starts, right? Those fetishes. Can only imagine people don't know whether to clap or point at me.
Aww.
Pretty much.
Oh, damn.
Naked Arcade Bubbles says, I may have shared this previous year, but I don't think so. I was a little kid and went to Universal Studios in Florida and had a the cast of some show, I think maybe Boy Meets World, happened to be at an arcade there, and my mom got their autographs for me. She tried not to draw everyone's else attention to them, but I freaked out because I only wanted the autographs from the cartoon characters at Disney. I kept crying, and they felt so awkward until my mom tore out the page.
Oh my god. That sucks.
Wow, way to fucking ruin Universal Studios trip. Shin's Arcade. Wait a minute, it's even worse if what's her name was there? Topanga. And then I shat myself in front of Topanga, and she just went. Shin's Arcade says, I do not believe in ghosts, but I was watching Unsolved Mysteries in the late. Well, this will freak you out.
Oh, yep. That's where
I was
you went
watching
wrong.
Unsolved Mysteries in the late evening with my sister and my mom when I was about 8 or 9. My parents had recently divorced, so our house seemed especially big with just 3 of us. During the height of the spookiness of the show we heard loud popping sounds coming from the kitchen.
Spooky. Ooh.
It sounded like a few balloons popping. Our living room and kitchen were separated by a half-wall divider, so it was very loud. We all jumped up from our seats and turned on all the lights and went to investigate. There was nothing there. To this day, none of us know what caused the noise.
Oh, what the fuck? ...
And I pooped my pants.
I've never seen these baddies before.
Pixie4688 says, I was about 5 and my little sister decided to play QVC. I have no idea, I don't know what that is. I have no idea why I picked up the lamp to showcase it on our shopping network. The lamp was plugged in, but home shopping? So you guys played an actual game where you were the home shopping network and you were like presenting items in your house to buy?
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
That is fucking hilarious.
Holy shit.
Plugged in but had no light bulb. I stupidly put my finger in it and got electrocuted when I woke up.
Ooh.
I thought I was dead and took my mom 2 days to convince me that I was not dead. I was an idiot.
Oh my god.
That is hilarious. What was your mom doing letting a fucking lamp sit around with a bulb not in it? You can't die from electrocuting yourself in a house. Breakers will bust, will trip before that happens.
I remember electrocuting myself.
Well, you can't
like
die.
Sticking a bobby pin in a socket.
Oh, you zapped yourself?
Yeah. It feels.
How the fuck do
pretty
you
fucked
die
up.
from it? It's got alternating current as well. So, like, you can't be attached to it like they show on cartoons. Because the alternating current dislodges you. How?
You could have a heart attack.
Well, then you were probably had it coming in the first place. It was probably, like, you were probably a person who was gonna have a heart attack someday, somehow. What? AC's more dangerous. You've subscribed to the fucking Edison school of thought? The only way you can die to it is if, like, somehow you get attached to it and you can't get off of it despite...
I'm an electrician, you can.
How? Anytime I've ever been zapped by something like that, it's always been... How do you get electrocuted to death? Read up the wiki on it, it's interesting. Huh.
Maybe I will. What the fuck? I've never
Oh
seen
my
this
god.
guy before.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ. Am I even doing damage?
This is your first time seeing a boss?
This
Guys,
boss,
give me
yeah.
free coins.
I don't think those are friendly coins,
Grab
are
one.
they? Oh, those are not friendly coins.
Oh, the coins are bad.
Oh my god, he's so strong!
That's the thing, Cammy. See, AC prevents the muscles freezing up. Those are bombs.
Yeah. Keys?
How do you know which are good
Jesus.
coins?
I don't know. Oh my god. Oh my god. Can I go in there? I need in. Oh! What the fuck was that all about, guys? That
was
guy's
intense.
nasty, yeah. No, I did not beat this guy last year. Oh, maybe I did if I had like some crazy loadout. It's the boss for this mode? Did I really beat it last year? I must have had a really good loadout. I do not remember him.
They're saying you had to destroy the key coins, and those would give you a key, I guess, to get out those doors. Yeah, you
I
beat his ass.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
How'd you spend a year of playing this and get worse?
I didn't play it for a year.
Well, I'm gonna read that Wikipedia article because I was always under the impression that the only way that you die from alternating current is if you
Let's go back to this.
fall on wires and can't get your body off, or like, you know, basically get stuck somehow to the wire. But that it doesn't work like in cartoons where you like this because of alternating current, it just blows your hand off of it. That was what I did believe. I was about fit, or like, you know, say like, I also don't know how you die from a toaster in the bathtub, that old trick, because
That old trick.
that old trick, because isn't that an old meme? Because like they show in cartoons or something, like people, or like, you know, shows like that's the way of killing yourself way back in the day, but like
No, I think
That's
it can
what-
still totally kill you.
how does a breaker not prevent that? Shouldn't it just give you an insanely bad shock, but the breaker trips and you don't die? All right, I clearly need to look this up because I want to know
Guys,
more.
just
The reason I
err
go,
on the side of caution and do none of these
yeah,
things.
don't do any of these things. it doesn't work. It's disproven. Good. That's what I thought. The reason
Really?
I go on diatribes, guys, is because you need to realize what kind of person I am. If I wonder a thing, I must know the fucking answer.
It's very true.
I have to
He
know.
Googles everything.
I Google it and I spend like an hour reading about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I also talk like I know a lot of things, because I look up a lot of things. So I feel very strongly about little stupid random things that I know. So that's why I go on these diatribes. I can't help it. I really can't. It's just, that's my way. It's my body's rejection of the fact that I can't stop the show right now and look that up.
Yeah.
So I just keep talking. I know you well enough after 6 years. I was about 5. This is from Pixie4688. I was about 5. Me and my little sister decided to play QV. Oh yeah, I didn't finish this. I'm sorry, Pixie. We'll start again. It's very cute that you played Home Shopping Network.
Yeah.
All right. I had no idea why I picked up the lamp to. Oh, this is when you died. Never mind. We did finish it. Lino
right.
Bro. That's when you died. When I was. Now she's gonna think she really is dead still. Oh, this is the story about when she died.
Oh my god.
When I was younger, after getting a game over in Comic Zone for Sega Genesis, I got scared by it so much. For that week, I thought the villain of the game Mortis was gonna come from behind and kill me. I never felt safe at the time, not even in my sleep.
Oh.
I don't know Comic Zone. Cryptical says, when I was about 8 or 9, my parents went out to dinner instead of taking me trick-or-treating. I stayed behind and played video games. I was hungry, so I tried to microwave a meatball sub in the freezer when I heard a loud snap noise in my house and quickly put it in the microwave, set a time, and ran back to my room. When I was hiding, I slowly got enveloped by in this game and lost track of time. Turns out, in my panic, I set the microwave to 60 minutes instead of 6 minutes, and the whole microwave lit up in smoke. The fire alarms went off, and I quickly ran to the kitchen. After cleaning up the mess, I thought, oh shit, my parents will be home, so I sprayed the entire house with Febreze. Sadly, my parents figured out my half-assed attempt to cover up the smell of burnt microwave.
Oh my
Rather
God,
than admitting
I love
to
that.
burning the microwave, I told them I accidentally crapped myself. Needlessly to say, I got grounded. I never found out what that loud snap noise was. That story had it all. That makes me almost wonder if it was made up. It had too many perfect instances, but
Oh my god.
the perfect cut fire.
Oh, there's no little guys
Actually, the
around.
only way it's perfect is if he says, turns out I actually, they grounded me, then I actually did crap myself and they didn't believe me and didn't let me change my pants.
That would have made it perfect.
Miss Fable says, so spooky story. I was 6 and my family and I were on vacation at Louisiana. Oh, poor you. And we're visiting an old
Louisiana's
plantation
perfect.
house one of the days.
Oh, cool.
I'm just kidding. It was a tour. At some point, we were in the balcony and the tour guide was talking. I was in the back and board, and at some point I noticed that the door opening next to me. I turned and saw someone peeking through the door that were my height. They were bluish and whitish skin, sort of see-through. I can only see their eyes peeking through the crack and were closing the door and opening a few times. My mind was blank, and then my mom called me, and as soon as she did, the door shut with a bang, startling everyone in the tour guide. Went to the door and noticed it was locked. He had a key, opened it, and when he did, it was just a dark room with furniture and sheets over it. But no one there, and no other door to go through. The tour guide said some family members died from a fever in the 1800s, and the youngest boy, age 5 apparently, strange things happen when they suspect it was him. Was a memorable trip after that.
Awesome.
Where do I get tickets for this ghost trip? I hear you actually see a real ghost boy on it. Boy, oh boy, how much are they?
such an
$20.
asshole.
A little
Shut up.
expensive for a ghost tour, but I've heard we have a good chance of seeing a ghost boy on it.
God damn it. My sister went on tours. My sisters have gone on tours like that, and they say they're awesome.
Where they do that? Where they set up a boy to be in the
Oh,
house?
no.
I'm just telling you right now, Miss Fable, they set that up for you. That's a thing they do on that tour. Whether they'll admit it or she's sad now.
Yeah. See, you make people sad.
Story of my life. Story of my life.
I believe you. And that's
Guys, you're
scary as
just
hell.
not going to get anywhere with me trying to convince me of these things. Ruin my childhood. Let her live in fantasy. Where ghosts exist?
You can tell me all your ghost stories.
You know what the funny thing is about these ghost stories and these ghost tours?
What?
It makes little, like, nice ladies like your mom get really excited about kids who died a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, tell me more about the child who died here. Ooh, was it a horrible death? I heard they died screaming in a fire, and to this day you can hear that little kid screaming. It's like, this is a horrible story just because it's in the 1800s. If it's true, how is that something you want to hear about?
Guys, what is this thing? I think I hate it. No, well, actually, I just kind of ignore Fraser whenever he talks about shit like this because I know what I believe.
There's a good example. Out East Coast.
Oh yeah, I do
In the
hate
East Coast
this.
in Nova Scotia.
Wait, Curse of the Tower, unhit, drops lots of troll bombs. Thank you. I hate it. Okay, continue.
In the East Coast, there's a tunnel of screams that people like to go to because the story is that a young girl of like 11 was in a house when the crazy neighbor burned it down, and she ran screaming into the tunnel and died horribly in there, and now everybody wants to go to the tunnel to hear her scream. It's like, that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
If that's true, how can you like be like, yeah, I can't wait to go hear the 11-year-old screams. It's okay because she's from the 1800s. I don't mind if 11-year-olds die burning in the 1800s.
That's kind of a bummer.
It is a bummer. That's all I can think of whenever you do these ghost tours. It's like, I hear that this person was maimed by their father.
Infested?
Yes.
Was she hot? Dude, that's
My
an 11-year-old ghost.
My favorite ghost tour, I go on ghost tours with my family whenever we go traveling. And my favorite one is in Victoria, BC, because a certain famous author is a part of it. And I love that. So you guys
Frost?
should go on it. Nope.
So Isaac Butt says, when I was about 7 years old, we were on our way to school, and because I live in the country, we picked up a lot of kids that live on farms. Anyways, there was this old burnt out farmhouse, and they say that all the farm kids had died in it. And then we picked up the ghost kids, they got on, we took them to ghost school.
Shut up. Read the stories.
All right, fine. Anyway, there was an old burnt down farmhouse, and we never got demolished on the corner of the street between two large plots. As I was looking out the window of the bus, I saw a big black shaggy dog sitting in front of the building. So mean, Fraser, says Miss Fable. I didn't think much about it until I asked some of my friends how neat it looked. They proceeded to say that they never saw any dog, and it must have been just I must have been just super tired. After that, I always was on the lookout for the dog, but never saw him. The dog that moved away from the place he was sitting.
If you're not gonna play right, we're not gonna play at all. Fraser.
Alright. The girl named Sig says, on my 10th birthday. Hey, I gave everybody a disclaimer before they gave me ghost stories.
That's
You knew you were gonna get teased. On my 10th, this is your new
Which
story
one's
for the
better?
future.
I think I like this
the
one
gaming
better.
host made fun of my story and I was totally embarrassed because all the chat was pointing at me. On my 10th birthday, I had my first birthday. Wait, what? I had my first birthday party. Aw.
on my first birthday.
On my 10th birthday, I had my
Oh.
first birthday party.
Aw.
I wasn't allowed to see my friends outside of school, in brackets. I didn't feel very good that day, but good golly, I was gonna have a great time. I put on my nicest white dress, oh no, and I went to the Family Fun Center to meet friends. Oh, this is just...
I'm scared.
I had sat in front of my cake and pizza for an hour waiting for my friends to get there. Once everyone was there, we ate and enjoyed cake. We went to play in the arcade. My stomach hurt really bad. I turned around to get everyone to follow me, and I hear screaming. My nice white dress had a big circle of blood around my butt.
Aww.
I didn't have another birthday party until my 17th birthday this July.
That sucks. That really sucks.
Oh, that's really horrible. Your first birthday party. It'd be even worse if it was your first birthday party. Like first.
Yeah. That you've been eating some bad hormone-y food.
Beaton says, when I was 8, I was with my mom at a store. We were walking across the parking lot and I saw a storm drain that had bars on it. Being the smart 8-year-old that I decided, I decided to walk across it. The bars were rusted. I fell through and ripped a gash across my entire leg. I was stuck and my leg was bleeding in a crowded parking lot. Well, I guess you're lucky it was a crowded parking lot and not an abandoned parking lot and you were bleeding out from the leg. I was scared I was going to get hit by a car and couldn't see me because I was so small. It took 20 minutes to get me out. Ended up suing the store and got a decent settlement because they were supposed to replace the storm covers years before.
Jesus.
Whoa, I still have that money. How decent was this settlement?
Yeah, nice. Also, are you American? Ooh, monkey's paw. Oh, it's not.
All right.
Left hand turns all red. All
8-Bit Eyes says,
Got it.
don't forget your turbo ship button. 8-Bit Eye says, I was about 4 or 5 and my dad had recently taught me how to open a locked door with a credit card. Wanted to prank my sister. I went up to her door and attempted to use my new ability. At the time, she was in the room with her boyfriend. Wait, is she hot? I opened the door to find them in bed together. Brackets, they were having sex, exclamation mark. I was standing, how old was she? I was standing at the doorway for a whole 30 seconds before they noticed me and pushed me out. Fortunately, she was 16? Was your parents home?
Yeah.
Fortunately, I didn't know what sex was at the time because you were 4 or 5. I was stuck for a long time trying to learn what they were doing. When I finally learned, I realized how much of a scarring experience it was.
Oh my god. That happened to me once.
They were just wrestling. Tarantula.
I was probably in grade 9, and I had my sister and her girlfriend were in their room, and I had the phone in one hand, and I'd taken my glasses off. I think I've told this on the show probably, but I'd taken my glasses off because I don't know, my eyes were bugging me, and then I knocked on the phone was for them, one of them. So I knocked on the door, and I had my phone and the glasses in my hand, and they were having sex, and I just remember being traumatized and throwing my glasses at them, and then realizing that I meant to throw the phone at them, and so I threw the phone, and then I ran out, and then I couldn't see anything for quite a while. I was like, what the fuck? And so my sister came in and brought me my glasses after, and...
Which sister? Of course. The natural one.
The one older than me.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, not the one you're thinking. But yeah, and I think she probably like hit me or something and told me to shut up or stay the fuck out of her room.
Becky had multiple sisters who got caught having sex.
Oh yeah.
All right, direction here
Not me, though. I was
says.
smarter than them. Also, I'm not married, so I've never had sex. Mom.
I went to emergency room. You've had sex before? Why are you making me wait?
You've never asked to marry me.
Poor Fresh. I went to the emergency room twice when I was a toddler. One of them was when I was bumped. Okay, wait, sorry. One of them was when I bumped my face into a table corner and started bleeding a lot. I've got to get a ring on it, Fraser. Oh no, Metroid says I know what that feels like. Oh god.
What?
It's another. about being with somebody, I guess, never having sex with them,
Oh.
even though they have had sex before.
Oh, dude. It's too bad.
Anyways. One of them was when I bumped my table corner, started bleeding a lot. I was being taken care of by my grandparents at the time. And then being classic Asian caregivers just told me to suck it up as I was bleeding from my head. My mom was furious when she came back to pick me up from their house. On the plus side, I got a really cute dimple now. On the other time, I was putting my fingers into a tin can and I couldn't get it out without cutting myself. My parents don't know how I got a hold of the tin can to begin with. Oh, and just remembered another one. I was riding a tricycle around the grill, like literally circles around the grill. Oh, like, you know, the barbecue or something? I fell on the grill and burned myself pretty bad.
Jesus.
I was a bit of an idiot. Bundra says, I don't remember if I said this one before. I would throw up a lot as a kid. Still don't know, but the same janitor, the nice older black guy, would always clean it up. From 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, he always used to clean it up. In college, I worked as a substitute teacher and helped coach. Same janitor worked there and still does. One day it said, weren't you the little kid that always threw up? While the other teachers were all around, so I had to explain all that to them.
Aww.
What? You that guy would always throw up? I hate you.
I want this one. I don't know what it is, but I've never seen it before.
Someone tell him I hate him. It's right there, man.
What was I gonna say? Oh, whenever I was little, I was riding a tricycle around the stove in the basement, the wood stove in the basement.
You're an
I
idiot.
Fell off.
You dummy.
I fell into it, and I got 3rd-degree burn on my hand, and I still have like a scar.
Why would you ride around the fucking stove?
My parents
on your
put my
tricycle?
tricycle in the basement for some reason.
They told you
I
to
don't
stay away
know.
from the stove, no doubt, though.
Oh yeah,
But tricycling around it, that counteracts that rule, right? Because when you're on a tricycle, that's different rules.
yes.
Dummy.
I don't know, those are so many words. But yeah, I have like a sweet scar from it still. And my cousin was scared of me.
3rd degree, you can see bones? No, 3rd degree is
No, 3rd degree is
more minor than 1st degree.
No, it's the most intense.
What?
It's not necessarily seeing bones though. It's like bubble, all bubbled.
Isn't
Like
that 2nd degree?
I had to have
Are you sure it was 3rd degree?
I don't know, I could ask my mom, but I had to have moist shit wrapped around it all the time.
Full thickness burns go through the dermis and affect the deeper tissues.
Yeah, which is why I still have
Probably slightly 3rd degree then. It is darkened,
yeah.
but
Like it's still dark.
Yeah. Doublefinger says one day in grade school we went to a wildlife park. It was pretty foggy.
Oh, on top of that, for years, like I think in the last 5 years it stopped, but it used to bubble in the summer. Like I used to get little things on
Maybe
it
it
in the
was
summer.
3rd degree.
Yeah.
It was pretty foggy that day, so a lot of the animals were hard to spot. We got to the deer enclosure, and all the other kids claimed to be able to see the deer. I, however, couldn't. By that time in my life, I had grown accustomed to people teasing me and assumed that they were all on a big prank to mess with
Aw.
me. So I got really angry and eventually started crying. I did that a lot, all
Yeah,
because of
me
those
too.
goddamn deer. Rottybug says, I don't believe in ghosts, but this incident was delightfully eerie to me. A few years ago, I sat with my family at the table for lunch. My back was turned to the hallway.
Aunties!
You got panties?
Yeah.
My back was turned to the hallway, and we were waiting for my dad, so that we could start eating. I heard something behind me, and according to my mom and sister, someone across the hallway. My mom called out to my father to hurry up. Lunch was getting cold. Dad kept us waiting several more minutes, and suddenly the front door of the apartment unlocked, and my father came in, puzzled. Since we thought we saw him in the hallway, we checked the rooms, but they were empty. To add to the weirdness, my dad had been sorting through my deceased grandfather's old things before he came home.
Did your grandfather die in that house? Because my papa died in our house and he's still there.
Jokey Verta says, once in the early 2000s, I was going... See, we ignore each other when these things come up. Once in the early 2000s, I was going to sleep in my room. After lying in my bed for a few moments, my room window suddenly burst open. I jumped out of my bed screaming, and my parents ran into my room. My dad checked the window, concluded that the wind had opened it up. I didn't tell my parents, but I'd locked the window tightly after getting cold. The window had a door handle kind of locking mechanism, but it could be opened from the outside with another similar handle. Thing is, my window was in the second floor of the house, which means it was either a guy that climbed up the ladder on the side of the house and opened the window, or some kind of paranormal entity, which I didn't believe in. I would have rather believed in a ghost doing it. I think more likely is you didn't lock it right and it blew open.
Nope. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it.
How many times have you been sure that you did something and then derp, turns out you didn't do it?
Never.
Well, there you go. 5-2 says, one day just before school was about to end, I felt the need to pee. Having fear of public restrooms even back then, I decided to wait until I got home. Unfortunately, I misjudged just bad enough I had to pee and pissed myself on the way home. I had to walk by my friends playing in the yard and tried to play it off like I fell in a puddle with my crotch.
That sucks. I peed myself a lot when I was little. I probably have a million of those stories, but it happened so often. I was like, oh, peed myself again.
Cookie Saber 892 says, in the 4th grade, our class was having a Halloween party. One of the activities they had set up was a tub of blue soapy water that you could blow bubbles in for whatever reason. And I thought I was supposed to drink it and took a long sip. It wasn't until one of the parents asked me what I was doing that I realized that it wasn't for drinking, it was for blowing bubbles. I wasn't a very smart kid.
I like it.
It's the kid version of drinking the finger bowl.
Yeah.
Gracchio says, as a kid I put an ant on a hot barbecue and a while later found the same ant all shriveled and fucked up. I never heard an animal again. Ants don't count.
Well, apparently they do.
The girl named Sig says, when I was really young, like toddler age, my mom had friends over. Were they hot? This was a fancy occasion. I had really bad gas, and every other time I farted, I pooped myself. God, no!
Aww.
No! My parents were livid.
Aww.
After a while, I just couldn't control it. The guests were angry at me too.
What?
My parents were convinced I'd ruined the night.
Oh my
I was
God,
so
that's
upset
awful.
that for years,
You're
every
a
time I
kid.
farted, I would check my underwear just to make sure I didn't poop myself. I was potty trained at the time.
Aww.
That was toddler age.
That's so
horrible.
sad. You didn't ruin
Wait, are these the same
night.
parents that didn't let you have birthday parties with other kids? I need to have a talk with your parents about parenting. Too late, I guess. Cryptical says, I wasn't allowed to go outside. I'm glad you made it out of that house.
Or are they out of that house?
I hope you're out of that house. And aren't like coming
think
to us
it's-
like, you know, from a computer in a room with your dead parents' mummified remains on the side of the room. Like you turned into one of those types. I'm 17. Oh no. No! You're still there!
Well, I'm impressed that you're alive. You can make it. You got this shit.
You gotta get the fuck out of there, girl named Sig. There's a lot of help for you in the chat here.
Yeah, there
you
you
got
go.
this, Sig. You got this. Yeah, at least you have internet access now, so you can get out of the house. It's okay, only 9 more months till I'm out of Dodge. Nice. Wiggle your eyebrows if you're trapped. Alright, Cryptical says, another crappy, no pun intended story says, when I was in grade 5, they gave us sexual education, and they say that I put on a condom on Banana Day. It was put a condom on a Banana Day. They demonstrated how to do it, and of course,
Did they do that
my
for
teeny-
you? They never did that for us. Oh, I went to a Catholic school.
our gym teacher, I think. in grade 9, Mr. Laney, showed us a condom and said, I'm supposed to demonstrate how this is used, but you guys all know, right? And that was that, because who's going to say,
Yeah.
So that's how he got out of having to do that.
Wow.
So Laney was pretty good.
That's weird.
It's possible Laney was too good to leave it like that. He was actually really good with that shit. But I do remember him saying that.
That's weird.
But he wouldn't have done that either. So they must have like followed it up with something.
Huh.
Anywho. It's mandatory in Canada that gym teachers teach that stuff. Well, yeah.
I don't remember.
You get it around like grade 5 in public school,
Oh,
but then you get
I do remember
like
that.
more advanced stuff in high school in grade 9. Okay, wait. Sorry. So this story. It was put a condom on a banana day. They demonstrated how to do it, and of course my teeny baby hands didn't understand and failed. In my frustration, I threw the wrapper and said, this is too small. I want one that my dad uses. They're much bigger. I was a bit too innocent at the time.
They're much bigger. You don't even know what to say to that.
Was this just like assumption, like boasting, like my dad can beat up your dad? Or had you for some reason already seen and used your dad's condoms on bananas for fun in your house?
I could see that.
I guess he's not in here, Cryptical. I need to know more. No, here he is. No, I had totally seen the size of the condoms. I didn't know they were super used for at the time. Okay, that's a weird sentence. These aren't as big as my dad's banana wrappers. Comes to school with bananas in a condom each, unwraps it. Just keep the banana fresh.
Num num, good banana.
DSKTY says, I went to zoo camp when I was 10. What? That sounds awesome!
Yeah, it does.
Until I was 12. And one night towards the end, we would camp out in the middle of nowhere. Our campfire was on one side of a hill and our sleeping spots were on the other. It had to be midnight, but I woke up because I heard chanting. I still had glasses at the time, so I couldn't see anything at first, only a glowing coming from the other side of the hill. I had to ask the kids who were awake, sneaked over to the edge of the hill, and we saw the most terrifying thing ever. A group of 5 masked people wearing fringed clothing, dancing around a campfire and chanting. One of them had a cow skull and raised it above their head and said that they couldn't understand and threw it into the fire. At that moment, the masked figure turned and looked right at us. We bolted out of sight so fast that we tried to bury ourselves in our sleeping bags, too scared to go back to sleep.
Jesus.
The next morning, we went back to the fire pit, and there was a skull, that in sign of the recent fire, and we thought we all remembered the incident clearly. It may have been counselors or something, but they played dumb when we asked. It was totally the counselors. Counselors doing some stupid teen thing or some bullshit. And they wouldn't say it to you because what fucking counselors are going to tell kids the truth?
Yeah. That's creepy though. That's really fucking creepy.
Guys, that was 3 pages and it goes to page 6 now since we started.
Whoa.
So we got to wrap it up because like I don't even have enough hard drive space soon. It's been 3 hours of
Get
this.
more hard drive space.
I'll read a bit more, guys, but God.
What? How do I get out of here? This is bullshit. Seriously? I just can't get out of here? Oh.
There's, okay.
How come I could just...
All right, I'll read a few more. Jesus fuck. Back in high school, this is from Pallet Town Graduate.
Until I'm done this. When I die, it's over.
Yeah, when Becky dies, it's over. Back in high school, I had a really bad at football and soccer, and never scored a goal or rarely touched the ball. One time I was standing at the middle of the playground, half-heartedly playing, and a big kid who was the goalkeeper Kicked the ball really hard. It hit me square in the face, really hard. It really hurt. Blood started pouring out of my nose and all over my school shirt. And it really hurt. But the ball hit me so hard that it bounced back towards the kid, over his head, and into the goal. I finally scored a goal. Spooky, right? Naked Arcade Bubble says, my family and I went on vacation in New Zealand. My sister, for some reason, got into her head that she wanted to go bungee jumping, despite the fact that she's terrified of heights. My mom finally agreed to let her. In the days leading up to it, she would get unexplained headaches from one side, and one side of her face would hurt. The woman who was in the trip agreed to go with her and jumped before her, but when my sister's turn, she chickened out. Turned out the headaches were because she was panicking about having to jump, but she didn't want to look like an idiot for pushing so hard to be allowed to go. Also, the woman who went with her would have chickened out, but she didn't want to scare my sister off.
Aww.
Draco says, when I was 9, for some reason, at one point in the playground, sitting around, the next moment, I was in the infirmary. When the nurse asked me what happened after I regained conscious, all I could remember was walking and fell down on the playground. Some kids told me that for some odd reason I stood up. They thought I was going for the pole to go down, but instead I went and dived into the ground like it was a diving pool.
Holy shit.
At least it wasn't bad. All I got was some small bruises, but to this day I don't know why I would do that. Jesus.
That's crazy.
Rhythm Beat says, I was in grade school and my friend ran around blowing kisses and chasing girls to gross them out, giving them cooties or whatever. One of the girls went home and apparently told her high-strung mother that we were brought into the principal's office to explain ourselves. We said it was all in fun, but the mother who was in the room with her daughter was in the office, started yelling at us, calling us pedophiles.
Oh my god.
And we were sexually harassing her daughter and trying to convince the principal to have us arrested and register us as sex offenders. One of my friends cried because he didn't want to go to prison, being on second grade and having no clue about sex. This is in second grade. Had no idea of what was going on. The principal managed to calm her down. Principal's a champ. But we still were required to go to sex ed and respect for women classes. Oh my god. How old are you?
Wow.
When was this? What year? We all got referrals and went to on our permanent records.
Oh,
Quote.
fuck that. Fuck that story. That makes me angry.
Welcome to the future, folks.
Yeah.
Drifting Nitro says, from when I was 6 until 9, I had an irrational fear of home invasions, being shot through my window, probably from watching the movie or something, I don't remember. One night I was storming out and watching the window to laying awake when I saw a shadow in the lighting. It would look like a head. Got out of bed in the middle of the night, went to a small makeshift bed in my closet. Not a walk-in closet, by the way, with blankets, pillows, and a sleeping bag. My logic being, if they don't see me, then they don't know I'm here. I ended up liking the secure feeling of sleeping in the closet so much that I did it for a year. After I overcame the fear shortly after a spooky, stormy night, my mom just shrugged and when I said that I liked it. I improved over time, creating a fort out of little boxes and stuffed animals.
I like the way you guys think.
Halcyon says, when I was 13 or 14, my dad's office wasn't home. As a room was rather isolated, I started watching some on-demand lesbian softcore porn. When the women were about to climax, my younger sister, around 11, walked in and asked where my dad was. I stood like a deer in headlights and tried to pretend that I wasn't watching porn. I told her he wasn't home and she left the room. I've never approached her about it and she has never said anything to me. Luckily, I wasn't masturbating.
Oh my god. That's embarrassing.
When I was a kid, I would specifically look for lesbian porn.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because I didn't want to see dicks. Thought it was gross to see dicks.
No way, it's all about dicks. You had it wrong.
Just didn't want to see the dicks. As much, I would accept 1 or 2 dicks, like, as long as there was a way farther bigger boob ratio. You'd have to at least have 6 boobs to 1 dick for me to be okay with the dick being present. That was like my kind of rule of thumb.
That's funny. Makes sense.
If it had too much of it, I was just like, moving on. I was very secure in it. I knew exactly what I wanted. When I was in kindergarten, I had a buddy system for when you went to the bathroom. This is LJOL3. After I finished my business, I must note on that last thing, now there can't be enough dick in my porn.
Yes.
There has to be at least one set of boobs present, but like then I want like 20 dicks to 2 boobs.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite now. Flipped right around. Okay. Rico says I'm slowly transitioned to drawing mostly dicks in my porn. Yeah, that's how you get into tentacle porn. It's just nothing but dicks. When I was in kindergarten, we had a buddy system for when you went to the bathroom. After I finished my business, I left the stall, and my friend, who was my bathroom buddy, had hidden the hall pass somewhere in the bathroom. I've hidden the hall pass somewhere within this dormitorium of excrement. If you can find it, upon bell ring 3, you shall be. I don't fuck it. I can't keep doing it. That's what I'm picturing this like 5-year-old kid saying. Eventually, this broke into a long game of hide and seek with the hall pass. I don't know how long we were gone for, but eventually the teacher had stormed into the bathroom to get us, and I got in trouble, which is the scariest like a kid like me can get in, who always did what was right and what he was told to. On bell ring thrice.
Sucks, it's not your fault.
Stingy B says, not much of a fantastic story, but for the sake of sharing some. So one night we went to the trash around 8 or 9. I saw a girl, a silhouette, running across the street really fast. I dropped the trash bag because, if it wasn't clear before, we're locking down this thread. I dropped the trash bag because, why the hell not? I chased after it and disappeared into the wall. Like having a cul-de-sac part of the complex or dead end with apartments surrounding a center road. You know, not the greatest story, but it's still a story. Okay, all right, yeah, it isn't. Stingy B got one more chance. You listed 3. On other stories, when I was in elementary school, it was lunchtime. Got my food, paid for a snack, went to the principal, called me out with her megaphone, told me to sit in the isolated table away from the class. To this day, I still don't know why she did it, nor did she tell me. All right. You don't get your third one told. Darker Zap says, when I was 13 and I decided to take a nap, I laid back. I did my best. Well, it wasn't good enough.
Ouch.
I laid back in a recliner and fell asleep. It's not my fault you didn't have a real childhood and didn't get traumatized. I laid back in a recliner and fell asleep. The next thing I know, I hear what sounds like a door being kicked open. I heard a low growl and noticed that I couldn't open my eyes or move. The growl got closer until it was directed by my head, which means the thing behind me was tall enough to look down at my head and breathe on me heavily. After a minute, I opened my eyes and finally moved, and there was nothing there. That was the first time I had sleep paralysis. Tacoma Man Rock said, when I was 5, I was scarred for life. I was in the living room and my sister was playing on her Nintendo 64. My dad was at the time taking down the shelf above the fireplace. When he took it down, he thought he took out all the nails in it, but when me and him were not looking, he accidentally swung the end of the rusty nail into the back of my head, and I started bleeding profusely. I was then rushed to the hospital and had to strike my head shut. To this day, I'm deathly afraid of sharp things. Then I pooped everywhere. Harry Cornflake says, so this happened when I was 10 or 12. On Christmas Eve, I spent the whole day at the toilet barfing, and I was empty until I was empty and then barfing and still barfing. I had stomach pain and I ate tons of food. There was absolutely no way to get rid of the pain or the barfing. It was horrible. We had a lot of trouble to find the doctor because it was obviously a holiday. So my parents got me to the hospital, emergency stuff. Turns out it was appendicitis. Next day, Christmas, day of surgery. Next day, Christmas Day, the day of the surgery, I was proud to not feel any pain anymore. I was high as shit. I could barely walk, but I didn't want to do the surgery because I felt better. But I was so fucking dumb. Turns out I was that close to periodontitis, which means my appendix had almost exploded and I could have been more horrible. After the surgery, During the evening, my brother had some of his friends came by, gave me gifts and everything. One of my friends, Simon, couldn't stop making me laugh, which hurt a lot, but it was worth it. It was the best Christmas ever.
That's crazy.
Despite the surgery. Had a shit ton of gifts and didn't eat that much, though.
Man.
Well, you made the doctor happy. He probably made about, like, $10,000 for doing that surgery on Christmas Day.
Yeah, dude.
Oscari says, when I was in 7th grade, my class went to the school trip to Icelandic National History Museum. Me and my friend were talking on the bus until we realized that we were the only kids left on the bus. Once we realized we asked the driver when our class had gone off the bus. He said at the last stop and proceeded to throw us out at the next stop downtown. How old? 7th grade.
Jesus.
At the next stop in downtown Reykjavik. Long story short,
You got fired?
we had
Being shitty?
well, he's a public bus driver, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We had to make our way to the museum by ourselves, which was before smartphones. My mom and teacher at the same school kept in touch with the teacher, but never let them forget that day. Him forget that day.
Fuck.
Chandrasee says, during summer, my family was having relatives over for some food. It was a nice day, so everyone sat on the porch in the back porch and chatted. But me and my brother were getting bored, and we set up one of those special twister mats and had water jets between the colors and would shoot at you in regular intervals. And when the family was talking on the porch, me and my brother were playing in the yard twister mat, and we got all wet, and then we started kissing. And then the family laughed at us because they were like, "You're brothers." I'm just making this part up.
I died.
That's embarrassing when you accidentally start kissing your brother. Everybody's like, "Aha, you don't get it." Oh, Becky died. So I'll finish this story. We quickly got bored of playing Twister and had our first brilliant idea of the evening. Let's run full speed at the mat and power slide on it on the grass. It was actually really fun. If a terrible way to play Twister. Things got... I don't know where... My mind just keeps on thinking this is going to go towards you making out with your brother. It's like it just sounds like that. We were having lots of fun in the hot summer sun and like... Things are going along fast. I turned rock starring down the yard in her parents and grandparents' amusement. Maybe they were stepbrothers. And it's not so bad, is it? It turned sour when we decided that we should up the cool factor by taking opposite sides of the mat and running full speed at symmetric power slides. Oh my god. For the first 3 slides, this worked well, but on the 4th attempt, I swerved too far to the left and my brother swerved too far to the right, resulting in his head connecting to my knee. The next thing I remember was being on the porch, on my back, with my grandmother freaking out over top of me and my mom and dad busy running in the house and coming back to look at my leg. Turns out my brother's thick head broke my knee and I had to get an ambulance ride to put a cast on.
Holy shit.
His head was fine though. I have no idea how.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Good reading, babe. That was a lot of reading.
Yeah, guys, that's about as far as we go today.
What a bonehead. And then they kissed. The end. And then they pooped their pants.
And then they kissed and pooped their pants. I'm not the only one, right? I mean, come on. Twister with water jets.
Yeah, but the whole brother part threw it off.
No, guys, it was fun. Thanks for contributing your stories. Sorry for the ones that got missed. Just put those in your pocket for next year. I'm gonna turn off
That was a fun show.
It was fun. These are always fun. I don't know why I think I have to do this while I'm on the show. I just want to turn off the inverted colors right now. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. Happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you had fun with the spooky stories. There were a lot of crappy stories, some literally.
Spooky and crappy stories.
Literally. No, there's some pretty good ones in there. And I appreciate that you guys didn't just make a bunch up just to get on the show and for me to not call them crappy. They were all pretty clearly legitimate stories. Which is why they're good, is when they're real life stories.
Yeah.
So how did you do today? Because I didn't really watch anything. Do you feel like you were playing well? Did Becky do good, guys?
I think I did all right.
Do you think she's a good Binding of Isaac player?
I think I'm pretty good. I still don't know what a lot of the trinkets do because I often don't look them up. I just kind of go with feel, but...
Pretty good.
I'm impressed. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that I didn't beat greed mode. That's like I really wanted to unlock
Since you had last year?
Lilith. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
How'd you beat it last year and not know this year?
Well, I probably only saw him once, and I had a really good loadout, so I beat him. And that's the only time I've seen him. And I haven't touched the game again until like 2 weeks ago. I never got to him.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching then. We're all done.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow for, I think, the release of
Sombra.
hopefully a brand new Overwatch character. Goodbye.